Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justin Katz Fairchild, and I'm here with Switch. We've got some great games for you guys tonight. It's going to be Dawn Esports up versus OTA Ability Power. And man, am I excited for this one. How you feeling tonight, Switch?
Pretty good, my guy cats, and this is going to be week 2. By the way, we're not actually going further with the brackets so far. It's actually just still week 2, so everyone hold your horses. And like you mentioned, Dawn Premier off to a good start in week 1. They did get their win versus Delusional Esports, and on the other hand, there is always a but. OTA Ability Power unfortunately lost to what's looking to be one of the better teams of this, how should I say, group. That is Schrainer on the other side of that one. It was a clean 2-0 that hit the side of OTA AP, so they are currently 0-1. But Dawn Premier, they did go a bit blow for blow, and they got their 2-1 victory last week. Or shall I say the
Yeah,
week before? Yeah.
yeah. We did have, of course, some issues last week with the Riot servers, so we are on week 2 here. Coming, I guess, the third week for some others. But anyways, it's gonna be week 2 for us. Of course, Dawn 1-0 and Ability 0-1. And hey, the 2-0 there from Shriner is really telling us a lot about how OTA Ability Power is looking to play. Um, they're coming out, they're not able, they kind of just got run over, saying it lightly,
Yeah.
by
Well,
Shriner. The 40 KDA from Shriner in that best of 3 was ridiculous. And I want to see if they're going to be able to return it around this game.
right. You were mentioning pretty brutal game, but nothing's quite decided yet, right? Just because the side of OTA Ability Power did drop a game doesn't mean that they're going to be bottom of the barrel. And just because Don Premier won a game doesn't mean that they're going to be the tippity top of this group as well. Everything's still up in the open and a lot to be decided. One thing is for sure, though, it does feel nice to, to be 1-0 in your season. And Don Premier, they even went 2-1, which, in my opinion, is better than going 2-0 because I think if you lose one game, you get a lot of good feedback on maybe what could be your apparent flaws, right? If you go 2-0, maybe you're just thinking you're on top of the world and it's just business as usual. You go to the next week and you get stomped, perhaps, because your flaws were not made apparent. But if you do drop at least one game, maybe you can go back to the drawing board, look at what you could do better to shore up your weaknesses. So Don Premier, I kind of like the spot that they're in right now. Fantastic organization as well. We've seen that they have a fantastic track record, even at the highest levels of competition. Speaking of even scouting grounds level stuff, so I expect great things from Don Premier and a lot of versatility, perhaps, in their pick and ban phase.
Yeah, and Dawn Esports has been an organization that's been around for, well, for ages now. It feels like ever since I got in the league, even like 3 years ago. But we are getting into this draft, and it's going to be Dawn
Yep.
on the blue side, OTA Ability on that red side. And already we're going to see that Urgot ban.
Yeah, the Urgot ban, quite interesting, I will say, but Don Premier do feel like they need to take it away rather. Mordekaiser as well off the table. That's a bit more telling of what we might be seeing. Two top laners that might want to be going towards that sort of bruiser area. And now that Mordekaiser is taken off the table, I think you get a bit more options as to what you can blind pick for either team that wants to really scoop it up. But we usually see top laners secured more towards the second pick phase. But rolling right along, it is Yumi and Tom Kench as well taken off the table.
Yeah, Yumi and Tom Kench going to be taken away. Yumi, of course, part of that Yumi Garen combination that we've seen a lot in Worlds, and thankfully we're not going to see it today. And of course, the Tom Kench going to get taken away there as well. So it's going to deny that Tom Sona bot lane. So we're not expecting to see a super unordinary bottom lane, but it is going to be the Nami band here as well, taking away a bit of that range and a bit of that early poke for Dawn as we get into this final ban of the first phase for OTA Ability Power.
Honestly, a lot of champs that I did not expect to be banned because while watching Worlds, there seems to be quite a rigid meta that's starting to develop where you're putting a lot of attention towards solo lanes and towards jungle picks, but we see no jungles here, no jungle bans rather here. We see a lot of support bans as well. You could see 4 support bans dropped from both sides, and also a bit catching me off guard is really this place that both Yumi and Tom Kench are at in this current meta. I didn't think we'd see any Tom Kench. I thought Yumi was already nerfed into the ground, but apparently both of these champions just do not go down without a fight.
Yeah, definitely. We're still gonna have that Morgana first pick there for Dawn. It's a relatively safe first pick, and you're gonna have a lot of pick potential there as well. It's a lot of time saying pick. But you have that black shield that can keep you incredibly safe. If you want to draft something a little bit more aggressive in the ADC slot, or even in that mid lane with Aurelia or something else along those lines. OTA ability power, though, is going to pick up that Ashe, and that's not something we see too incredibly often with champions like Xayah, like Ezreal Open. I'm not too sure about this Ashe pick.
Right, the Ashe might be lending itself over to the fact that maybe OTA ability power want to draft more towards a solo lane oriented style of play where they pick hard carries in either the top or the mid lane. You can see right here the Rise, which does scale fantastically and is a great primary DPS to have on your roster. But as you later finalize your draft, you definitely do want to put utility somewhere. Usually we see it sometimes in the jungle, sometimes in the support, but having another place where you can throw a bit of utility, a bit of engage, does help the composition overall. And of course, on the side of Dawn, no surprise that the Morgana is going to be followed by the Caitlyn. This is just a premier bot lane that has been seen over and over and over again, because while A, it's easy to execute, it's also B, very rewarding if you're given that isolated 2v2. And now I'm really wondering what OTA ability power are going to be picking as their support to really shore up this Ashe lane versus the Caitlyn Morgana.
Yeah, and I have one of these picks that you might have seen into this Caitlyn Morgana. The Tahm Kench banned away by themselves, so they're not going to have that opportunity to pick that. The Pantheon, though, is going to be locked in there for Dawn, so that's more kind of dive potential down in the bottom lane. Just throwing everything, throwing all the eggs in one basket, and getting down there. The Karma, though, will be that lock-in. Of course, that's still going to be, we have kind of a triple wave flex right now for OTA, the Rise Karma. And of course, either the top laner or mid. So that top mid support spot can all be flexed around. But we are into the second ban phase. OTA is going to take away that Rek'Sai, and Dawn is starting at their first.
Yeah, that is a bit of the beauty of Karma. I will say, though, picking Karma when you already have a likely candidate for an enemy top laner, which is Pantheon, the matchup Karma versus Pantheon in the top lane isn't actually that good. Pantheon can go toe-to-toe in terms of poke damage with the Karma, and also Karma really does prefer to be going up against more of a tank that's lacking damage. I'm thinking even someone like an Urgot, where you can start building up your Kleptomancy stacks. You can farm off of the enemy top laner as well as farming the minions, and you can get to that mid game with a big gold lead, but not this time around. So I'm very curious where exactly that Karma is gonna land. I personally don't like Karma's support here in this versus this Morgana Caitlyn bot lane, so I would like to see it possibly in the mid lane and maybe flex that Rise over to the top side. It's really tough because Pantheon is such a brutal laner to go against.
Yeah, most definitely. But when you have kind of that range versus melee matchup, that's incredibly nice as well. We are going to see what OTA is going to try and pick up here. And we'll probably be able to see what they're going to run unless they're going for that jungle pick here. And it will actually be Vi getting locked in. So that's not something we see too incredibly often.
Yeah, and this pretty much solidifies in my mind that it's going to be some sort of carry top laner for the side of OTA. You've got clear engage in the form of either the Ashe Enchanted Crystal Arrow or the Vi Assault and Battery. You've got clear support and utility from the Karma, the Rise, and the Ashe. So really, you can have your pick. I would love to see maybe even a Jax over here, because while Jax is going to have a hard time surviving in the top side versus Pantheon, I think really the reward that you can reap off of it is way better. You look at the roster right now, locked in for Dawn Premier, and they don't have a dedicated split pusher that can really answer the likes of a Jax, maybe a Kennen, maybe even an Aatrox in the top side once you get to maybe 30 minutes into the game. So potential avenue.
Yeah, but we're going to see the team composition rounded out with a Shen. That's not what we expected to see. So it is going to be that Ashe and Karma bottom lane up versus the Caitlyn Amore.
This is actually really weird. OTA is definitely playing with fire in this pick and ban, because in a universe where you lose the early game, it's pretty much game over. Yeah, sure, you have tons of utility, right? Every single character here actually has a possible snare / stun But at the same time, though, you're going to be lacking because there's no actual dedicated damage carry. No one's going to pop off in the team fight. It's really just all reliant on you working with your items, you working with solid 5v5 team play, and hopefully being able to eventually catch out one member after the other of Dawn Premier. But the problem is, though, like I outlined, if you fall behind in terms of damage, you're pretty much sunk, right? You're on a sinking ship. While on the other side for Dawn Premier, we didn't cover it, but the Vel'Koz and the Jarvan have been secure for themselves. And you've got one heck of an early game lineup. I love the Pantheon and the Caitlyn Morgana duality. You've got pressure in both the top side and the bot side, which is going to make it a difficult choice for Vi in this case for the side of OTA. Ability power to decide where exactly he wants to play to. Couple that with the fact that this is Dawn Premier's mid laner playing Vel'Koz. He actually has Gentry rather has, I believe, roughly 200 games. Okay, 170 games of Vel'Koz. This guy's a very experienced Vel'Koz player. You can definitely say that he's going to put in work if you give him free farm. And to top it all off with the little cherry, you've got J4, one of the most impactful early game junglers for the side of Dawn Premier as well. I think they've really set themselves up with a winning lineup.
Yeah, both these compositions, they have their pros and cons, but Dawn just looks so much stronger. And there's not too much of really of a front line here for OTA. You have kind of the Shen, you have kind of the Vi, but I feel like he's just going to get bullied down. Shen's not going to be able to get too much farm up top side.
Right.
Vi is kind of going to get run over by this Jarvan, and it's going to be about if OTA is going to be able to stall out and push out that early game advantage as soon as they can.
Absolutely. And just one more time, taking a look lane through lane. Look at the bot side, Caitlyn Morgana versus Ashe Karma. Ashe Karma actually has a great job controlling the wave. They can push just as fast as the Caitlyn Morgana. The only problem is, I think Caitlyn Morgana has a much easier time when it comes to executing 2v2 kills or even assisting in ganks coming out from the J4 as well. They're going to have the snare that's going to link into either the flag and drag or the traps coming out from Caitlyn. It's so easy to work with, and it's a lot of brutal single target damage in Ashe Karma, which has very low max HP as well. You take a trip over to the mid lane, which is looking to be the Rise versus the Vel'Koz, and really, you're just expecting farm. You're just expecting both of them to come out 20 minutes and start blowing up people left and right, which is perfectly fine. I think Rise, though, is a difficult champion to wield sometimes, and well, let's be honest, we are in the minor league here for Upsurge Esports. Not saying that, we have bad players, but the skill cap of Rise, as opposed to a champion like Vel'Koz, yeah, in the end, you do need to land your abilities to win games of League of Legends. Rise, though, has a lot more nuance. He's got tons more skill expression lending over to him, so it's going to be tough to get all the value you want out of the Rise. And finally, over to the top side, that Pantheon versus Shen, it's really just the Shen trying to endure all the assault and all the punishment that the Pantheon is going to put out. This Pantheon champion, his new rework, he's so brutal in the laning phase. It's so hard to just come out even, let alone behind a couple of CS without dying.
Yeah, definitely. And Pantheon just so incredibly strong in both these compositions. Of course, Dawn looks like the heavy winner in Champions League, but what do you think OTA needs to do to be able to pick up game number 1 here?
Yeah, it's definitely a good question, and that is where you can start to talk a bit more positively on all the tools that OTA have secured for themselves. You think about the Stand United, and I think you outlined earlier, the Pantheon can come to dive the bot side. I think the Stand United is a fantastic tool to keep up with all the Pantheon's movements. You can even make a more proactive play off of the Stand United, maybe playing around that split push pressure as well once you get towards the mid game. So you've definitely got a nice pickup here for the Shen. Actually, I just realized it could still be a flex between the Shen and the Karma, but let me just confirm. Okay, it is Karma support at the end of the day, so no worries on that one. You've got Vi, level 6, who has one of the easiest ganks to pull off. So I think you come into either the mid lane or the bot lane, and you're going to pick up at least 1 kill over there, assuming the enemy jungler isn't ready for a counter gank. Aside from that, though, it really is just trying not to sink, trying to stay ahead of that gold curve if you're the side of OTA, and trying to survive this early game that Dawn Premier is going to put out.
Yeah, most definitely. But we're no spectator today. But before, we'll be right back. If you're looking to take your games to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono has been a huge supporter of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pool. If you need a new keyboard and more for your setup, we can't recommend anyone better than Kono. For more information, head over to kono.store to check out all they've got to offer. That's KONO.store. Kono, discover amazing products. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be Dawn Esports up versus Ability OTA. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we've got Dawn Premier Esports and its OTA ability power. This is our first game of the night, and oh, am I excited for this one?
Yeah, this is week 2, so this is definitely still in the early stages, but no reason not to be hyped. I love the hype, Cats. This is all about
I'm
just
always, I'm
putting
always hyped.
yourself.
Come on now.
Dang, you're right. Well, it's a good thing. You're a caster, so that's actually a good trait to have. But this is definitely week 2 when you do want to keep putting yourself right foot in front of the other until you run out of right foot, and then you use the left foot. But you want to start off at the right plate, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't really put your right foot in front of your left foot, and then you got to put your left foot in front of your right foot.
It's
So
true. Yeah. Sometimes there's cracks on the floor, and you can't put your
can't
right
step
foot
on
there.
those. You better
You
watch
can't
it.
break your mother's
No,
back.
exactly. Can't do that. Both these teams, though, going to be 5 pointing. Nothing special, no invade. Would have maybe like to see something with Morgana, but no reason on over aggressing when you can just play nice and safe.
Yes. Name of the game for both teams right now. You can see the starts at both the bot and the top side. Jweb. Love the name, by the way. On the Jarvan. We're expecting him to have a very quick and brisk pace for his jungle overall, and expecting him to influence the lanes that matter. We talked about both the top and the bot lane for the side of Dawn Premier. You've got Caitlyn Morgana that would love to snowball, and you've got the Pantheon as well, whose #1 priority really is snowballing. I don't know if I mentioned this before on the stream, Cats, but honestly, once Pantheon hits that like 30, 35-minute mark, the guy just falls off a cliff, dude. Like
Yeah,
he's a different champion. Like I don't
he's not
understand
really
it.
a champion, then.
Yeah, he's actually just a glorified minion at that point, swordy minion on that one. But hopefully it won't go that far, right? If you're the side of Dawn Premier, you're hoping for a very brisk game.
Yeah, and you can already see some of the tempo out of Dweb. He's done that, just buff to buff, actually, and he's looking towards mid or maybe looking towards an invade on the top side. The only lane that's really pushed in for him right now is that bottom lane. You have Jibba and 29 Rosebud. Pushing in, of course, that's Karma and Ash. You're still going to find that push potential, especially in the early game.
Yes.
Though up top side, a little bit of dueling. Pantheon not winning, not coming out the good side of that trade, but he's got corrupting pots. He's not worried.
Oh yeah, and just wait until he gets all 3 of his abilities. He is such an ability-oriented champion that really his base damages are the name of the game in this laning phase as well. On the other hand, for the Shen, you're just hoping to not take too many brutal trades, right? At some point, especially post level 6, you want to be in a good position to be able to stand united whenever your team needs it and only sacrifice maybe 1 plate at most, right? The best feeling is when you stand united, you help your team with a beautiful play around the bot side, and you can instantly teleport back. Nothing was missed, not even a single creep down the drain, and it's just a good day for the Shen. But unfortunately, that scarcely happens, to be honest, because I don't know. Yeah. Personally, though, I just expect Dawn Premier to be coming out first with the punches on this one. As you can see, the poke going down onto both sides in this bot lane. No leads quite accrued yet.
See, it's just about even across the map right now. It is important to note our first dragon will be an Infernal. So a bit of priority on that, both in the bottom and mid side. And you'll have to see where Dweb and Parkini opt to go and opt to path when that does spawn here shortly. But right now, not too much going on. Dweb actually did back on off. He's on his Gromp now, and you have Parkini on his own Wolves as well.
Yep, both junglers did posture right after they did Skull Crabs to perhaps go for a gank, but nothing quite yet, and it makes a bit of sense as well when you look at both Vi and Jarvan. Sure, they can make things happen if provoked in the early game, but more often than not, you're just loving that level 6 power spike for both, so why not just rush on over to that one? You can see Parkini a bit ahead in tempo onto his opposing jungler. We'll have to see if that does make a play, and as you mentioned it, that Infernal Drake spawning up. By popular demand. That is by far the most loved Drake of them all. Is that actually, I don't even know if I can make that statement. Is that your most loved Drake?
See, I mean, it's a good Drake, right? You love to have it.
Oh, come on, man. It's an Infernal.
It's an Infernal, but at the same time, Mountain Drake. You know how nice that extra
You're
damage
kidding
to
me.
towers is?
You're totally sandbagging me.
Come on.
I don't think I've ever heard those words ever come out of someone's mouth.
Cloud Drake is underrated.
I will not disagree with that one. It feels super nice once you get that second Cloud Drake, by the way, and your opponent has 0. You're literally Sonic the Hedgehog. But if you're trying to tell me that Mountain Drake feels good, listen, cats, I don't want to
Oh,
spoil anything for you, but they're actually reworking the Mountain Drake because it didn't feel good enough.
I don't know. I thought it felt good. I really liked seeing the like extra 10 damage when I auto towers. The little pop up, that was really nice. You don't get that with Infernal.
It's
You
true.
don't feel
You don't get
the
that one.
damage.
You just feel the victory, though, because
I
by
mean,
that time, you're already
that's
winning
fair,
those
that's
team
fair.
fights. We're going to see attempts at ganks from both sides. The taunt missing out onto Wenson on the Pantheon. That's going to mean Parakini, bit of a wasted trip to the top side. He does grab a ward, though, so you do appreciate those big plays from your jungler. But on the bot side as well, we did see Dweb posturing, but he was pinged out as well. Nice vision from both corners of the map from both teams. And yet again, we're stuck at a stalemate here.
Yeah, not too much really has gone on. Dweb kind of just wants to hit level 6 before he's able to force anything, and especially with the vision control going on at the bottom side right now, Jibba and 29 Rose have been able to get that vision, and they've been able to get the priority. That just generally keeps them safe, and they're able to continue to shove in. Still about even in CS across the map as well, but that's going to be the first back coming in there for Jibba and 29 Rose, but Bilgewater Cutlass getting picked up for them, and Caitlyn should be backing after this wave and picking up that BF sword as well.
Right. You're absolutely going to be appreciating that big fat AD in the hand of Caitlyn. I would say a bit more than the Bilgewater Cutlass coming out from Jibba, but at the end of the day, we'll have to see what the conditions are really for the first team fight. We're approaching level 6 marks for the junglers very soon. Solo laners already hitting that point. And once again, Infernal on the table. What team does not want to secure control of this one first? I mean, and already you're seeing a beautiful situation for OTA. They're going to start it up because, once again, I mean, you've got uncontestable or not yet contested full control of this Drake, so why not? But you know what else? Going to be hitting a pause here, Cat.
You know, we're into a pause. What's a game without a pause, honestly? It's truly
not Upsurge. Yes, there you go.
Exactly. But of course, yeah, Parkini has started up that Drake, and you actually can notice Dreb is on the other side of the map.
Yes.
He's over towards his blue. So this is a really free Drake heading over to OTA ability power. They're able to pick this up nice and early. It's not really going to give them that gold advantage, but hey, it's an Infernal.
So are you purposely trying to cast her cursed, or I'm not quite sure what's happening here. This is by no means guaranteed for the side of OTA, although they are in a favorable position. You could see Darwin on the Morgana just moving over right now. I have to see if he has the wits, the intelligence to drop down one wardy boy, and then we'll see if the side of Dawn Premier decide to retaliate on this front. But losing an Infernal this early in the game, I gotta say, it don't feel too good, Cats. You know, the Infernal
it definitely doesn't, but
ages like a fine wine. Oh, debatable. Not gonna let you have that one.
You know, I thought I could grab it. I guess not.
It's okay. I admire the effort, and the effort is also here.
Yeah, this might be a killer. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to connect. That's a lot of damage on the Darwin. Going to go down here as well. The Assault and Battery, the last auto attacks to the first blood over to 29 Roseblood.
Yeah, first to the punch is Parakini, apparently, on the Vi, able to land the Assault and Battery. That was the true pick out that the side of OTA needed. They're able to secure one pick. Once again, the Infernal Drake in their back pocket as well, and you are very much appreciating that one overall. Big plays coming out from OTA. When we sort of outlined that, they should be playing more passively in the early game.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about it, but at the same time, what happens? Dweb is top side. They have the numbers advantage, and you're just able to force that dragon. You're able to force a fight off of that as well. Dawn Premier kind of just had to give it. There's really no point in fighting it, and they go down. They pay their sins for that.
That's right. Hindsight is 20/20, but you really nailed it on that one, Kat. See, they just had to give it away. They were posturing way too close and not giving enough respect to all the catch-out potential in the hands of OTA. We talked about all the tools at their disposal, and it's nice to see them utilizing it a bit in this early game. So very crucial stuff. They do. Oh, hang on. 1v1 the
Oh,
top side.
he's almost got it. 1 or 2 island
Oh,
tests away from death. The flash from low slow boy
interesting.
keeps him alive, but goodness, that Pantheon's starting to get online. You can already see the CS lead getting built there as well.
Absolutely. And now that he did chunk out Life Orb's going to have to blow either the teleport or sacrifice a couple plates off of that one. One still going into the hand of Wenson, and a little how do you do, little welcome back to lane coming out for Wenson as well.
Yeah, and there he actually didn't even heal all the way. He came in just about 3/4 HP, and oh, there's a Q. There's another chunk, and Wenson's just going to back on off. He'll be able to back, and looks like he's going to pick up a call field, so he's got both of those items towards that Youmuu's already. And we're 9 minutes into this.
And interesting pathing as well. You can see him heading down the mid side. Remember, he does have the Grand Starfall available, so I think perhaps you just force the Rift Herald here, or you force a mid play, and you have your assistants coming in with Wenson on the Pantheon.
Look at the damage. Stand United coming in though there. He's going to be able to turn around. Barkini's able to get the kill. The Stand United beautiful to save him. But Chan Coaster Arrow not going to matter coming through. But there is the reaction you wanted to see from OTA ability power, and they're able to hold on.
And not quite what I had to see from the side of Dom Premier as well. You know, I did hype it up. I was like, oh, the Pantheon. Yeah, he's going to do it. And he just goes 1v3 into the enemy tower. That's not quite what I would recommend in terms of the Pantheon. And really, it seemed like an entire disconnect overall for the side of Don Premier. And once again, like you said, the side of OTA able to capitalize off of it. Now taking a look at the gold charts for a second here, just loving how the solo lanes and the jungles are progressing. Solo lanes, in terms of the mid lane, rather, even in gold, but jungle ahead for the side of Parakini, and also in the bot side, you're getting some nice CS numbers for Jibba on the Ashe. I like the progression, and once again, one of the win conditions here for the side of OTA, don't fall behind.
Oh, and Wenson might be in trouble here. Barkini's up. He's got nowhere to go. He's got no flash, and Life Orb Slowbro finds that one. And once again, 0-2 now. Wenson up just a bit too far. The trap might be able to connect here. Nice. That's going to be a lot of damage traded back. The
That's
ultimate.
Big.
Oh, he's not able to find the Q inside 29. Rosebud running away with just little to no HP, but he's actually able to get out.
Yeah, Ace in the Hole is still available, but while the Ashe is freed up to move, she can body block that one. But that is a crucial snare.
Is that going to be the Q? The Piltover Peacemaker? No, it doesn't connect. What is that? I can't believe that did not connect. Kira and Shiro completely out of mana now, and Jibba still being able to play aggressive. He's got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming up, but both of them completely they're going to back off.
Well,
with their lives.
Absolutely. And while it did look very scary for a moment, I think you still got to give props over to the side of Jibba and Rosebud. They are using this bot lane and just catching or staying pretty much on par in terms of CS and not dying in the 2v2. Another win condition that we outlined in the side of OTA, not missing a heartbeat in terms of how they're playing their early game, secured yet another neutral objective, this one being the Rift Herald, which is really going to break open the game. They've got around a minute and change to use this Rift Herald to make a big play happen, and it starts here.
Wenson in trouble once again, caught out of position. He is flashless, and he's got nowhere to go. The taunt connecting, and the kill heading over to Parkini. And this has happened twice now. He has just gotten caught out a little bit too far, and he's paying for it. The Rift Herald in Parkini's back pocket. He might just drop this for a few plates.
Yeah, this is probably one of the worst situations you can imagine for a Pantheon. You fall flat on your face in terms of the early game. And the problem with this is this champion does not age well. We talked about that dreaded 30-minute power loss for the side of the Pantheon. Now the Rift Herald getting dropped down. Lots of damage onto the Shen, but Shelly is still alive, very healthy. And she might even collide with this top tower. We'll have to wait and see, Cats.
Oh my goodness, the damage from Gentry actually holds off that Herald, able to save his teammates' mistakes. Mountain Dragon is on the map though here, and you can see the bottom lane of OTA rotating around it. It's a get started up, but they know to back off. They know they don't have their jungler there just yet, but the vision going to be traded back and forth in this bottom river.
Yeah, the side of OTA did spot out that Jweb was on this side of the map this time around for the Dragon, as well as the bot side, Kuro and Shiro and Darwin on the Caitlyn Morgana were very active. They were moving around the map, and to be fair, it wasn't quite the right decision quite yet, but it looks like now seems to be the timing for the side of OTA. They're going to be starting up the Dragon, pinged out from the side of Dawn Premier. I think this time around, they might just jump on the chance to punish their opponents.
Yeah, and this could be a full 4v4 skirmish here. Stand United actually is available for Light Slow Orb.
Yep.
Looks like they might just be able to give away this dragon, and it's exactly what they're going to do. 2 dragons now in the back pocket of OTA ability power.
I think big lack of action coming out for the side of Dawn Premier. Really, that's the only words I can really come up with. I feel like they should have pulled the trigger there because they would have had a mana advantage with the Stand Unite. Yes, Grand Starfall is available, but it's got a range to it. You would have been playing 5v4 around that bot side, but at the end of the day, trigger not pulled, and the gold does stand at around 2,000 gold in favor for the side of OTA.
Yeah, and even though that doesn't sound like too much, we're only 15 minutes in, and it's on people that pretty much matter. Parkini now 2-0 and 2. He's able to exert his pressure around the map and continue to look for invades, or really just keep control of those neutral objectives. They picked up the Herald, wasn't able to do anything with it, but they still did get it. And now 2 dragons in their back pocket as well.
Right. I think the prize is at the very least getting the Herald off the map because, oh, hang on, Crystal Rail right into the Assault and Battery.
Nothing at all Darwin can do. He goes down, the flash away from Kuro and Shio. You can't do anything. That's 5 people down bottom lane, and that's 2 more kills over to OTA ability power, and they're going to be heading for this first tower down bottom side.
Yeah, you said it, Cats. It's a party down there, and it's about to get a bit more festive as they're now colliding onto the tower. Callie.
Oh, needs to be careful. Wow. Solo killed there by Killsley. My goodness.
Big plays coming out once again from the side of OTA ability power, and for the side of Dawn Premier, I think they're really sleeping on the wheel here. They have yet to show any signs of life in this early game, to be honest. Now, bot tower, or rather first brick gold, already secured for the side of OTA ability power. They're going to transition over to the mid side. This could be a reactionary play, but no, not quite. It's just Dweb showing up a bit fashionably late, but just trying to make sure his mid tower stays alive for the moment.
Yeah, and we're just seeing really no proactive play out of Dawn so far this game, and that's what they've needed to do. They need to be able to use this Jarvan, use this Pantheon to look for dive spot lane, to react to people in the jungle, but it just hasn't been done.
Yep, absolutely. And while we could say the big toolbox that the side of OTA ability power have secured for themselves, they're putting it to good work. On the other side, you're really not putting your tools to good work for the side of Dawn Premier, right? They've been sitting on this Grand Starfall because they really don't feel confident enough to make plays around the Pantheon. He's 0-3 currently, and while he might not be down as much gold as he should, at the same time, though, it's really not a winning formula when you have a negative top laner diving into a fray.
Most definitely now trying to look to maybe siege mid lane. They've got 5 people mid, 4 coming to match. You can see Kelsey coming mid there as well as that wave is shoved in. Nobody going down bot lane to match it for Dawn just yet, but you're really not going to be able to find anything right now. We're kind of in a bit of a mid-game stall out. Nothing too much to go on. No neutral objectives on the map at the moment. And no fighting as of yet, as you do see Kuro and Shio go down bot lane to pick up that farm.
Yeah, well, not a bad idea coming out from the side of Dawn Premier, as we did outline during the break, Cats. Side of Dawn Premier actually has a pretty nice looking siege composition, so them just executing the NA ram isn't the best, or isn't the worst of ideas. I mean, they're behind, so the NA ram does favor them more, but hang on a second, as an engage is starting up.
Might be in trouble. He's going to get rooted up. Ryze is in trouble. Black Shield to keep Winston alive a little bit longer, but the Assault and Battery does so much. The Soul Shackles, though, keep him alive for just a little bit longer. Gentry isn't able to find anything. The Stand Unite just barely keeps him alive. Barkini is on a killing spree, and now Kuro and Shio trying to do anything he can do. Barkini almost getting caught out. It's still, though, a 1-for-1. Support for support, and now you're going to have Dawn pushing down the mid lane.
Yeah, support for support, but we gotta look past the numbers and look at the HP bars available for both teams. Right now, it's the perfect time for the side of Dawn Premier to go ahead, execute their siege. They do secure themselves a tower, even up the score 1-1 in terms of tier 1 towers. And I think you gotta say, could have been much worse, and well played from the side of Dawn Premier. They do still come out of the gate with a lot of damage, Well played, especially to both Wenson and Gentry. I think they both got so much value out of their champions. The Pantheon bought a ton of time. Gentry just did what Vel'Kozes do best, which is apparently just melt supports. So well played from them. As the next dragon is coming up very soon, the approaches are coming from both teams.
Yeah, this will be an Ocean Drake this time around, so it's not going to be a Mountain or an Infernal, nothing to stack on top for OTA ability power, but just another dragon, keep it diverse. Darwin, though, might be in trouble. He misses the bind, a lot of damage going down, not able to find the kill just yet. But that is a chunked out Morgana.
Yikes.
She's got no stopwatch, but Jibba's in trouble. He's got no flash. Dodges away for the time being, gets stunned up. There's the Cataclysm, and that's a dead Ash. That's a man advantage there for Dawn, and that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, that is a crucial death here for the side of OTA. That's going to give free reign of the dragon for the side of Dawn Premier. Just a bit too overambitious from the side of Jibba on the Ash. Want to get a nice little chunk onto Darwin, but really, he was the prize himself for the side of Dawn Premier. And now Dawn Premier, I mean, this Ocean Drake actually sounds pretty nice, right? Because we talked about how, hey, they have a pretty good siege composition. Not only that, but they were losing in the early game. This might just amplify the effect of how the side of Dawn Premier are going to want to play out the rest of this game. And it could be a lot more value than we expect from any old Ocean Drake. And the sieges, once again, coming through. I don't know if the side of Dawn Premier are really going to be pushing with this. They got to check all their side corridors, first of all. Make sure there's no Vi jumping in, and that's not
the
good.
Arrow, the Assault and Battery, the damage on Kurochi when he goes down. Look at the laser on the backside. Rosebuds and Jiba both there, but it's not enough for Gentry because Kulsi is coming on in. He's looking for more blood. Not able to find it just yet. Gentry goes down. It's a double kill for the Rise. Looking for more. Almost able to kill Darwin, but not enough. The flash. Oh, no. That's not what you want to see. But still, 2-3 kills traded back from OTA ability power. They should be able to find 2 towers mid lane. There was some pings over to the Baron Asher as well. I don't know if they'll be able to do that, but that seems to be the call.
It does look to be, and actually it might just work. You've got no teleport available for Wenson, so he's going to have to get in range for the Grand Starfall. You've got, once again, chunked members from the side of Dawn Premier, and the Dragon, or Baron rather, melted down and secured here for the side of OTA ability power. They have successfully won a team fight and transitioned their lead into something much more rigid.
Yeah, and that is a fantastic pickup, and it was a pretty positive fight there for Dawn, but they stay just a little bit long. Colonel Chio eats that enchanted crystal arrow from Jibba, and there they are able to snowball that, pick up that Baron Asher, and now their gold lead at 6.5k with Baron on the backside as well. Such a strong sieging ability. And as soon as Jibba has that enchanted crystal arrow, he's going to shoot. He's going to fire as soon as he sees it. It's all going to be on Darwin if he's able to connect with that dark shield, with that black shield, to try and keep whoever that arrow is against alive. But even then, bot lane, we kind of talked about maybe this split push, maybe the Pantheon being strong, but Shen could probably solo kill him right now.
Yeah, I think all of the seeds that the side of OTA ability power have been sowing, they're really ready to reap. But hang on, as the pick comes through.
Ooh, Kulsi might be in trouble.
Cataclysm,
look at the standing eye. He's doing so much. Gentry gets traded back. Oh my god. Absolutely insane. Wow. He finds the kill under Rise. And Shamrock Arrow is available. You gotta be careful. He's gonna try and turn it around. The damage is there. Jibba just needs one more auto attack. He's able to find the kill into Darwin, but it's traded back by Wenson. He's able to use the Starfall mid lane. My goodness. This is a trade of kills across the map. Still able to... Still definitely in advantage there for OTA ability power, though.
Yeah, I would say positives and pluses across the board. You blow the Grand Starfall, you get a 2-for-1 trade in the top side, and you're really counting your blessings here for the side of OTA ability power. They haven't even lost steam in terms of this Baron push. You can see them already collided onto the tier 1 top. This tier 2 top is nothing but history now, and more gold into the pocket of OTA is exactly what you want to see. They are looking at around a 7,500 gold lead currently, and man, oh man, does this train look difficult to stop now for the side of Dawn Premier. I think they're past the point of return for the side of the Pantheon, especially on Wenson. I think he's going to give very little value, right? The only way you can get true value out of the Pantheon is if he dives into the backline and buys time. That's really all you can ask for now. And buying time is looking to be the strategy as a whole for the side of Dawn Premier. They need to get their Caitlyn into a good position. They could use a couple more items onto the Vel'Koz. Maybe then you can decide when is the right time to strike in terms of team fights versus the side of OTA.
Yeah, and we talked about, the Pantheon falling off the cliff, but he really has never even got on top of it.
Right.
He hasn't really been able to do much at all this game, and really isn't going to be able to do much for the rest of it. You have to wait for them to scale, but hold on, Jibba might be in trouble. He's taking a lot of damage. Dark Binding not going to connect the flash away, but the damage traded right back. The Assault and Battery, the arrow, and it's not going to matter. Now J-Web might be in trouble. He'll be able to walk away safely as they have a little brawl down in that bottom side. Kelsey just barely survives. But
beautifully played.
Great for OTA ability power. They're going to continue their siege. Now working down bottom lane. Baron Asher for just a little bit longer. Darwin might be in trouble. Nope, he finds that binding, and you're going to have the rest of OTA heading bot side.
Yeah, still a little bit more work to go for the side of OTA. They're going to secure this dragon here, possibly set up.
It's a mountain.
Yeah, it is a mountain. The fan favorite, as you call it. But you still do have a bit more work, right? This Mountain Drake just means that when the next Baron comes up, yes, you're going to have an easier time, but it's still up to you to dot your I's and cross your T's. You've got to gain control of the Baron. You've got to starve vision out from your opponents, and then you can really think about the whole turn and burn in terms of Baron plays. But overall, things are still looking very bright for the side of OTA ability power, and I think even when you look at the micro plays coming out from all the members, I think they're looking quite on point, and this is exactly the shape you want to be for a game one when they did fall behind in terms of week one. They are currently 0-1 in terms of game sets, and you can see the side of OTA, they've got a fire under their butts.
Barkini has used that Q. He's got to be careful. He blows that flash instantly, so it's going to be a flashless Vi now. That's actually a pretty important flash, trying to be able to use it to get a little bit closer and get that assault and battery on an important carry. But still, this Baron Nashor coming up here shortly. It's 1:20 until it spawns, so they've got time to sit around, wait, and gain that vision control. No need to force anywhere across the map right now, as you can just see everybody resetting, picking up some more items, continuing to build that gold. It's almost about 8,000 at the moment, and that is massive there for OTA.
It is massive. It could be much worse, though, for the side of Dawn Premier. I think they're still being given opportunities to claim this game for themselves. I think it's just a matter of how they play out this next approach of the Baron. It's got to be slow, it's got to be methodical, and overall, it's got to be better than your opponents, doesn't it? Because right now, this is OTA's game to lose. They have a great gold advantage, looking at around 8,000 here, around the 27-minute mark. It would be an absolute shame, Cats, if OTA were to drop it here around this Baron.
A shame indeed, but
not going to say I caster curse there, right? Because that's not what I did.
Who curses anyways, right?
True.
Not us. 27 minutes though, Baron coming up here very, very shortly, and you can see everybody positioning around it, getting ready for this fight. The vision control still in favor of OTA right now. And of course, they've got the gold lead. They can walk up, and now you have Life Orb Slowbro pushing in that bottom lane as well.
Yeah, the slow push is coming through. Once again, all the seeds that you've sown, you are reaping right now in terms of this isolated solo lane. Look at Slowbro. He doesn't care.
Damage.
He doesn't care. He's a mid-game Shen versus a caster mini. a Wenson, like you said, he was trying to hike up that big old cliff. At the end of the day, there was like a mudslide or something. I don't know where I'm going with this metaphor, but neither does Wenson, apparently.
In a bit too far. No, Rise not on the map. Life Orb Slower might be in trouble. He actually should survive. Parkini gets traded back, though. That is massive there for Dawn, as he goes just a little bit too far. He knows he doesn't have that flash. Dark Binding connects. There's ultimate. Not enough damage. Just barely not having it. The shield coming in clutch, but kills down the bottom side. It's going to give OTA a tower. Gentry,
whoa, wait.
You walked up a bit too far, flashing forward. There's the Soul Shackles. Will he be able to go
that
going?
land?
Dark Binding connects. Look at the damage coming through, but it's not going to be enough. Jibba just barely survives. So does Gentry. Kiro and Shiro sitting in that bush, being careful, but look at the life steal. Jibba's full HP.
Absolutely. Loving all that life steal in the hand of Jibba, and he wants a bit more. Gonna try and reap some more as the Stand Unite is available.
Not going the right way. Jibba's still chasing that down.
I mean, I like the play because You buy time for your team to arrive at Baron, while at the same time, you just chunked out 2 crucial members for the side of Dawn Premier. This is going to make the setup even easier. But you know what isn't easy? When a
Life when you
pause
have
just...
pauses.
Yes, I mean, just in general, pauses. But yes, life as a whole, when pauses are a thing.
I mean, right now, you look at the items across the board. Caitlyn just trying to become relevant. She has an Elixir of Wrath even. And that's 500 gold right down the drain there that you could have spent on maybe finishing that rapid fire cannon she's working towards, or rather the Shiv. Either one.
I will
but
say this could be the last team fight here
yeah,
for the
I
side of Dawn
definitely agree
Premier.
with you there, because that Baron is on the table.
Yeah.
5 towers to 1, almost a 10,000 gold lead now
Yeah.
for OTA. But I don't know. It's not my place to say, but I'm not too sure how I feel about it. But across the map, you now have a Guardian Angel for Joab as well. He's able to stall a little bit longer on the back line. The Death Stance there as well, but man, my goodness.
It's a big disparity as a whole. You look at the gold, and you're looking at around 2,500 in favor of the Ashe versus Caitlyn, and that's probably one of the worst places you wanted to be in. You're looking at 3,400 here in terms of the mid lanes, and once again, Ryze, fantastic powerhouse of a champion. I think you've successfully jumped through all of those early game hurdles for the side of OTA, and they are finally at the lost paradise that was the late game, or rather the mid game, but it feels like late game when you're this far ahead of your opponent, to be honest. You've got pretty much late game Ryze, you've got pretty much late game Shen, you've got Parakini, who isn't so worried anymore about how squishy he is because he's running the Aftershock. He's got a decent amount of flat HP in his build as well. And finally, you've got Jibba, who went with the Ashe pick, but he's currently ahead of his AD carry counterpart. That's going to mean that he's strictly going to be DPSing more than the Caitlyn in these fights. It's a long mountain that the side of Dawn Premier have to climb if they want to get themselves back into this game. And to further onto my point where this could be the last team fight, I mean, let's say you just sneak out of here with Baron for the side of OTA. I think double Mountain plus Baron buff, you just reset and you take objectives like no tomorrow. I think there's very little you can do past the point of Baron, so this has to be the play coming in here for the side of Dawn Premier.
Yeah, and they are on a bit of gold. Ashe wants to pick up that Infinity Edge, and that's exactly what she was going to do before starting up that Baron. So finish up all those items, use all that gold you have so it's not unwasted. And now an 8,000 gold lead actually put to use. As we see Infinity Edge picked up, and that is such a huge power spike. Jibba has been strong this entire game, but he is just getting stronger and stronger.
Could not agree more with you. Ashe in the late game, a lot of people don't think it, but she is terrifying. You get like 30% slows, which is bigger than you think, but hang on, there's the Grand Fall.
The Cataclysm, you gotta be careful. There's the Dark Binding Team alive, a little bit longer. The damage is there. Rosebud's gonna go down. Jibba is the next target. He flashes away, keep himself alive for just a little bit longer, but Wenson gets taken out. And now you've got life slow rotation of that.
Oh, the arrow misses.
But the flash in, Kelsey does not care. This Ryze is massive. They don't even need the Baron Asher. They should just be able to run right down mid lane and end this game. Nope, let's go Baron instead.
Yeah, the safer play is to go for Baron here, and why not? You got the time, and all you have to worry about right now is Dweb. Now, I will say, Smite is available. Not going to say anything else. Don't want to get any bad juju, but Kesley getting a big chunk off of that Jarvan. Going to force the Flag and Dragon. That's going to be all. But what she wrote here for the side of OTA, they really just had to put the finishing touches on this game as a whole.
No.
Add a bit more to the KDA. Yep, that's going to be Kesley with a hard-earned kill. That was beautifully played mechanically coming out from the Ryze. Could not have done it better myself.
You know what? Put some double digits there as well.
There you go.
That's always fun. Your 10th kill. Like, oh, wait, why do I have 10 kills? This doesn't make sense. But there is their third Mountain Dragon picked up as well.
As if they needed it. Yes, that is pretty much...
are going to get obliterated.
Yeah, they are not long for this world. I will tell you that much, Cats. And now...
a beautiful way of saying that.
Yes. We just have to wait on the pushes now. Like you said, Cats, best case scenario, 1-3-1 is possible. And the side of OTA, they've gotten this far. They can actually execute the 1-3-1. But that could take too many risks, you know? Maybe the 4-1 is just a much more acceptable push, and it looks to be the thought coming out here from the side of OTA. And where is the retaliation? What can you do now for the side of Dawn Premier? You're down gold when you had an early game composition.
Oh.
Your AD carry is losing in the AD carry 1v1 matchup. It's just all burning down to the ground here in game 1.
Yeah, and this is only game 1. We're 32 minutes in. This game's been going for quite a bit now, but it's been so dominantly in the favor of OTA's favor. And even now, you can see the damage getting traded bot side. Wenson almost going down just to the Baron minions there as well. And Life Orb Slowbo just doesn't care. There's a Cataclysm, though. Jibba does not have Flash. He might go down. Indeed, he does. Kuro and Shu trying to do the damage, but Parkini gets knocked up. Doesn't matter. Stand united. Caitlyn's on the run, and she's the last one standing for Dawn. The ace there for OTA, and they are going to be able to take game number 1 in a very convincing manner.
Yep, near perfect play coming out from the side of OTA in that final team fight. Just really dragged apart the side of Dawn Premier here in this first game. From start to finish, they looked like they had more proactivity, more comfort, and they come out with the win here, Cats.
Yeah, indeed they do. And, we talked about Rise, being one of the incredibly mechanical champions. He comes out of this 12-1-5. He built Righteous Glory on Rise. I don't think I've ever seen that.
That's actually a Doingby special, Righteous Glory on Rise. And that was before Rise got like the most recent like works on him. Like, I won't say it's a rework because they only changed like his E mostly, but either way, it really does show that Kesley did not have to build, towards full damage. He didn't have to hard carry his team. You saw in that last team fight, Jibba got bursted down. But that was really the only thing missing here for the side of OTA. The damage was all there, whether you look at the isolated 1v1 of the Shen versus the Pantheon, or whether you look at strictly mid to mid, strictly AD carry to AD carry, even junglers as well. You just loved all of the work that Parikini put out on the Vi. It was a clean game, and I don't think I really have much to complain about, honestly, from the side of OTA. They played higher than I expected, and for the side of Dawn Premier, unfortunately, they were a bit lacking in that early game.
Yeah, we expected them to be a lot more proactive in that early game, but just fell behind and not able to do too much at all. Kate gets shut down extremely hard in the early game, not able to do anything. And with Parkini kind of just sitting bot lane, able to get a lot of successful ganks off and able to continue to exert his pressure, Jeb is just not able to do anything. And OTA comes out with game number 1.
Yes, game number 1 in decided fashion, 12-1 for Kesley and 5-1 for Parikini as well. These were the big players. They made it happen in the early game, and you're just expecting for just as good of a game coming into game 2 of this best of 3.
Yep, and with that, we are going to go to break. We'll be right back with game number 2 between Dawn Premier and OTA Ability Power. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's game number 2 here between Dawn Premier and OTA Ability Power. OTA took that first game pretty convincingly, and I'm pretty excited to see what Dawn Premier is going to switch up for game 2 here.
Yeah, switch up is definitely something that I would want to see from the side of Dawn Premier, not just in the pick and ban phase, probably just in general, in just their play, but especially centered around that early game. Last game, we saw them draft a beautiful early game composition, the potential. It was all there, cats. And then the side of OTA decided to do what the side of Dawn Premier should have done, and Dawn Premier decided to do nothing, actually. Quite unfortunate stuff, but hey, this is only game 2 of a best of 3, so there could possibly be still a lot more waiting in store for us. We're just gonna wait for the pick and ban to pop up here as we can still really just review who were the biggest players coming into game 1 for the side of OTA, because I thought top to down, they all looked really strong. But I'm gonna say I love the aggression coming out of Jibba on the Ash. I love the activity coming out of Parakini on the Vi.
Yeah, most definitely. Jibbo played such an aggressive game and such an aggressive style, and I love to see it. It's not something you see at a lot of AD carries too often.
Especially Ash players.
Yeah, especially Ash. It's kind of a champ. You kind of sit back, you toss an arrow and a volley every now and then. And you're like, yeah, I'm relevant.
You're like,
But
I'm helping. Yeah.
yeah, but Jibba kind of just ran on in. But anyways, we are into the draft here. OTA gonna take away Thresh, Dawn, Urgot once again, and the Tom Kench. Pretty similar bands so far.
Yep.
In that last champion select, taking away that Tom tonight, maybe that Soda Tom or something along those lines, or maybe Dawn just loves playing Tom Kench. I don't know how you could love playing that champion, being honest.
Well, it's easy. You're a psychopath. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No
there you
offense.
go.
It's hey, I like playing Luther, and people call me a psychopath.
Ugh.
I'm not a psychopath.
Are you sure?
I don't. I mean, I haven't checked in a while, so I guess I could check again. But the same bands are coming out, with the exception, my boy Katz, of that Rise. Didn't see him there before. In fact, we saw him in the game, and he popped off in the mid lane. Kesley was putting on a fantastic performance, but not this time around, apparently.
Yeah, and once again, Ash picked up in that first rotation. I guess Jibba is incredibly comfortable in the Ash. It's not something you see first picked way too often, but picked up right there for Jibba, and excited to see how he does on it again. Hovering over the Zoe this time, it was banned away by OTA in that second ban phase. We're going to see if Dawn is going to opt for this, and maybe a bit more damage in that mid lane. A little bit more pick potential as well.
Right, it was taken off the table in the second ban phase this time around. The Sign of Dawn Premier gonna secure it first off, and the Jinx is an interesting one. I don't know how I feel about both of these AD carry players not going with the standard picks right now. Actually, I love Ash right now. I will say though, she's maybe A tier, not S tier. But the Jinx is really just a wild pick in general. Not really trying to put a pun in there, but she has a fantastic job snowballing. The only problem is, one, her laning phase isn't as good as you would like, as opposed to a Caitlyn, where her lane phase is spot on, and she combines very well with a lot of other aggressive supports. On the other hand, with the Jinx, yes, she can make it work out. My only issue is she lacks mobility. So if you look at the side of OTA, they have drafted a lot of tools that could take advantage of that lack of mobility, shall we say, Kat?
Yeah, most definitely. Once again, you're going to have the Morgana, but it will be with OTA this time around. And I actually really like this support pick. And, Karma on the other side.
No, not the Karma. Don't do it.
They're switching up. It's going to be Karma on Dawn and Morgana with OTA this time around. And I kind of like this pickup for OTA more. You're actually denying away to Morgana, so that stops the Black Shield. And you have a lot more pick.
That's true.
You connect an arrow. You have the Dark Binding right on top of that. And that is just so much CC. That's so much damage thrown right onto whoever. So far, we've only got 3 squishy characters picked up by Dawn. So
yeah,
that is
true.
Huge potential.
Very true. And the Karma, once again, technically, it can be flexed, but we'll have to wait to see what the top laners are once they get locked in as we head over to the second ban phase. Rek'Sai, Yasuo, and the Shen played from last game on the side of OTA. That's no longer going to be played. I couldn't agree more with you, Cats. The Morgana is a fantastic pickup, takes it out of the hands of Dawn. And the Karma, to me, was sort of a low-key pick that you didn't really feel too much value out of. Not like some of the other big support champions running around, but then again, we have seen a fair share of support bans, so maybe that's why people are reaching all the way down to the Karma, but trust me, she's down there. I personally do not like her because out of the laning phase, you're kind of enchanter, shall we say diet enchanter. You know, you're not quite Nami, you're not quite Lulu, you're not quite Yumi. You're just sort of there. You're trying to be them, but you're low on sugar and you have artificial sweeteners. It's unfortunate.
I like that. That's a good one. Anyway, but also the thing about Karma as well is you have a lot of damage in that lane, and if you have to be able to get ahead. But with this bottom lane, you're just really not going to.
Okay,
you're versus Morgana,
I didn't know you were a prophet. That's kind of nice.
I mean, are you?
I don't think so.
The bottom lane it's so safe there for OTA. I don't see Dawn getting ahead that early, but it is going to be Twist of Fate and Gnar getting locked in there for OTA. Dawn for the last pick, right after Echo, waiting on that.
Yeah, the Echo is definitely a spicy one. Loving me some Echo in this current meta, although we haven't seen it as much as I had hoped in Worlds, and that could just mean the fact that maybe Echo. Oh, I'm just getting this in from my producer. Apparently, Echo's just bad. So everyone that thought Echo was good, they're just wrong. Cats, if you were thinking that, you're wrong, buddy.
I've been wrong pretty often. It's one of my personality traits, actually. But anyways,
that's the thing.
That's gonna be Pantheon again for Dawn. Interesting to see how it'll do.
Okay, so Pantheon is apparently Malphite.
Okay,
yeah, he just skipped a couple days at the gym, but trust me, he'll get back in there. He'll be the beefed up Malphite that we know and love. Yeah, that's true as well. Thank you from the producer. Still got a rock hard body, just not as big in volume.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Do you think he could lift as much?
You know, regardless of all that, I'd still take his body in a heartbeat. So there's that. You know, you don't need to be Malphite. I'll just take the Pantheon. It's perfectly fine. But hey, Cats, let's take a look at the lineups as a whole, because you've got OTA with actually a bit of a switch up here. You know, they're not sacrificing all of that early game that we saw in game one. The Twisted Fate especially is a pick that seems to, or that sounds like it would work really well for OTA, because OTA were active. They were playing beautifully around globals. Twisted Fate has a beautiful global to work with, can put you anywhere in the map. So it seems to fit like a glove in my mind. You've as well got the Gnar in the top side versus the Pantheon. Once again, we're seeing the OTA top laner, Life Orb, is just going to have to take it like a man. You know, he's going to have to grit his teeth. But after that previous performance from Dawn's top laner, the Pantheon coming out from Wensin, I think it does look a bit fragile. You know, we saw some interesting positioning coming out of Wensin. We didn't see enough help from the jungle on that side for Dawn Premier, and honestly, the Pantheon just got put way too far behind, and he was almost a non-factor by the time we hit the mid game. So there is that going for the side of OTA.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to see if Pantheon is able to really just put pressure on this game. You have the Gnar, who's got the range advantage, obviously, but also a lot of the ganks we saw were up top side. Pantheon getting shut down very early in the game and kind of just making him irrelevant. Wensin wasn't able to do much. See, he overextended, and then you had Jungler. You had that Vi come up and succeed off of that. So we'll have to see if that's going to happen this time around with the Gragas pick, though. Gnar doesn't have as much enabling as the Shen. He doesn't have that taunt to get right on top of him. He does have the slow, and if he goes Mega, he does have a few stuns in his pocket as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one turns out.
I mean, Gragas, although in your mind he probably clicks as more of a, I would say, tanky jungler, really we've been seeing him run with Predator, and if he snowballs, he goes full AP and he blows up your carries, which sucks for the side of Dawn Premier if the Gragas actually gets ahead. Once again, we saw a fantastic game coming out of Parakini. Hoping to see another fantastic game coming out of him, and he's got a nice pick to work with as well. It is in the similar vein as a Vi, where level 6 you're gonna make something happen on the map. Just not sure if it's gonna be for your benefit or not. But moving over to the mid side, that is gonna be Zoe versus Twisted Fate, which you would think on paper Zoe does have a good amount of chances. The problem is though, Twisted Fate has a decent amount of wave clear in that early game, especially when he's not being pressured by the enemy jungler. This time around, looking to be the Echo, I would say. And the problem with this is basically if you're just shoving in wave after wave, you're eventually going to hit level 6, and that's really going to unlock the Twisted Fate. Zoe has to walk herself, and also if she stays in the lane, she's just going to be knocking on a tower that's going to take forever to hit. Finally, at the bottom lane, well, we talked about it already, but some shades of game 1 here in game 2 for the side of OTA. They're running the Ashe again, which looked great coming out from Jibba, as well as the Morgana, which you wished would have gone into the hands of Dawn Premier, but not this time around. They're going to be running the Jinx Karma. Big potential, but it's hard to realize in that early game.
Yeah, and you don't really have too much jungle pressure. You have this Echo, who isn't an inherently incredibly strong jungler, and he doesn't have the biggest gank potential, and there's also really not too much gank setup there either. You have maybe those, those traps, you have the Karma W, but that's just about it. From a side here for OTA, you have this Morgana, you have the Gragas, you have the TF, all of these champions that get right on top of you. And this time around, you don't have a black shield.
Absolutely. I think this game, especially if you're looking for anything to change. By the way, my mind keeps slipping. It's not Pantheon. It's a freaking Malphite. Sorry to the audience, but this game you're hoping for a big change, and I think that comes in the activity from the side of Dawn Premier.
Yeah, most definitely. But with that, we are going to go to a break before we get in this game. But before that, let's give a shout out to Sector 6 Apparel. Sector 6 Apparel is a leading esports apparel company providing on-demand printing for groups of all sizes. Sector 6 Apparel designs comfortably and stylish professional esports organizations, collegiate programs, and as well as your very own Upsurge Esports. If you want premium esports clothing and would like to support us at the same time, head over to Sector 6 Apparel at sector6apparel.com/collections/upsurge-esports. Once again, that's sector6apparel.com/collections/upsurge-esports. Check out Sector 6 Apparel today and rep Upsurge Esports or your favorite team in style today. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 between Dawn Premier and OTA Ability Power. OTA up one game right now after a pretty convincing one. Compositions have shifted around a bit, and okay. I'm gonna be honest. I want to see this Echo do really, really well. It's not something you see too often anymore, but
Yeah.
ooh, Jweb, I'm feeling the pop off. I'm feeling him warm up.
Really? Is that what you're? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not feeling anything right now, but could change. Maybe you're just a prophet, Cass. But
No, no,
either
no,
way,
definitely not. But I can
oh,
dream.
alrighty then. I mean, I absolutely agree. I love seeing great Echo play, and that's why I want him to be played at Worlds. But apparently, no team wanted the same thing that I wanted. They just not playing Echo, which is totally cool. Not like I want to see him anyway, but
I wanted to
uh,
win.
it's unfortunate. It's a trade-off that is difficult to make sometimes, but maybe winning is the right choice.
Maybe not all the time though. Sometimes you could just like,
I
have some
I'm,
fun.
I'm about to make an NA joke, but I'll save that one. As the jungle camps are spawning, the starts are coming from the junglers, and this time it's going to be both junglers starting around the same side, around the spot side, and we might just see them actually collide over this top side. Rift Herald, we'll have to see what the exact pathing is. Actually, as Gragas, yeah, you do have this option to go for the oh so efficient Krugs, as Parakini does seem to be going for.
Yeah, we're not gonna see too much. Of course, Perkini down bottom side looks like he might be doing a full clear on this. Gragas will work his way top side and maybe try and shut down Wenson once again.
Yep, have to really keep an eye on both junglers, as we once again see Jiva on the Ashe. Looked very comfortable. Shades of aggression on the Ashe last game. You're hoping to see, once again, the same thing. I think the best part about the Ashe was he was quick to pull the trigger, right? He would send arrows across Summoner's Rift, which, even though they didn't land, is definitely nice to see, right? You don't want to see your Ashe too uncomfortable to throw out his arrow or just saving it for like self-peel. You want to utilize that as an engage tool. And when you look at what else the side of OTA has at their disposal, I think it's a great opener, right? You could secure yourself a beautiful Gnar ult after. You could secure yourself a chain of CCs, maybe the Dark Binding, maybe a gold card coming out from the Twisted Fate. And of course, we do still have Parakini on a very influential jungler, that one being the Gragas. And as speaking of junglers, actually, we do see both junglers heading over once again to the Scuttlers. They do not seem to be colliding, so it feels bad, man.
Yeah, no fighting just yet. He's going to spit out that hawk shot as well. Not going to spot out Echo, but we'll be able to find all those camps are cleared. And Echo is going to go on in and look for a bit of an invade. Wenson taking some damage up here on the top side as well as Gnar, of course, ranged, though the CS still just about even. It is important to note, though, that the advantage that they are getting... Ooh. Oh, hold on. There's a gank. A lot of damage coming through. Gentry
Redemption.
getting low, but he's got the redemption to heal him. He's going to be able to use that flash to escape. He wants to flash into the gold card. It's not enough damage. Yeah, nearly enough. That's going to be a flash for flash.
Yeah, not the worst. Not the worst coming out from the TF of Kesley, but honestly, not on the same page as well for the side of Parakini and Kesley as a whole. They did not seem to have the same idea, but in the top side.
One Sid, he got the grass proc. One more auto attack. The W not going to find it. The Q. Oh, no. The boulder not going to connect. Wenson able to sidestep away from that one, just barely surviving.
Well, still well played once again from Life Orb. He's able to come out on top in the 1v1, which is going to mean free reign to shove in that minion wave before he backs, which is the best prize of them all.
Yeah, it's always fun when you beat your lane and you're like, all right, I'm shoving in this wave. I'm 4 CS up. You get the TP back. You have no TP now. It's the dream. And then you really need to be able to try and use that TP across the rest of the map. That waves in. It actually looks like he might be trying to... Nope, he's just warding. It looked like he might have been trying to freeze it because it didn't go all the way in. But just able to get that ward in the Tribush up top side. First dragon on the map will be a mountain here. And with Prio down in the bottom lane at the moment for Dawn, they do have it. But Jibba and 29 Rosebud are not giving it up just yet.
I think you've got a very small window of opportunity here, Cats, actually, because when the junglers hit level 6, or even when just TF hits level 6, I think you force bot because, once again, you have the teleport advantage like you outlined before. It's going to mean Gnar is going to be able to secure the 5v4 on the bot side. You're going to leave a Malphite, of all things, alone the top side, so no need to worry about that. But before then, bit of trading coming out from both mid layers. It's going to be a beautiful Ignite coming down from Gentry. Not even his own Ignite, just one he picked up from the floor and threw at the Twist of Fate. So feels good, man. And
that's always got to be really nice. Just throw down not your Ignite. Get an easy like 150 true damage at level 6. That's the dream.
probably didn't even bother to wash it, too. It's just feels good, man. You know?
Feels good, man.
Well,
It's Dragon up now, and you've got some people rotating on down. Gotta be careful. Marquini is there. He spots out two, I believe, the Echo and Gentry. Teleport advantage, of course, still on Gnar, and he's got the shove in. Needs to be careful. Wenson is level 6. Is able to stop that teleport if he needs to.
whoa,
He's gonna be going in. I don't know about that.
Hang on, brother.
All the damage coming through. There's the boulder as well. Grassprox getting traded back and forth. That was in.
Jesus.
He's not done yet. He wants to fight this. Level 6 still not for life orb slow. Should be rather soon. Yeah, he hits level 6, but he's not going to be able to use it. Just comes out of mega form there.
Yeah, with the Mega Gnar, or Mini Gnar, shall I say, back up, though, you are going to be able to play that range versus melee again. But, man, where was the fire for Wenson? I guess he just wanted to get value while he could out of that unstoppable force, which is actually not the worst of ideas, right? We talked about the window of opportunity. Gnar could go down there. So maybe you just get a chunk off of Gnar now before he makes a run for it off to that bot side. But as I say that, a play might just be bursting here in the mid side. Gentry walking along, just checking around all over the place. Dreb's here as well. So maybe that's a bit more security than you would expect. And nothing happens.
Nope. Level 6 now. Pushes him away. There's the stun. But he's in tower range. He's got to be careful.
That's the tower. Yeah.
Two
Don't
tower
know if I
shots
recommend
to
that
the
one.
back. And he's able to pick up his boulder, throw it back in. Teleport still available, but he's way too chunked out to make any plays. Still trying to maybe get that play, but this Mountain Dragon is up. Ultimate available for Kisley as well. If Destiny is there, and Gentry may be trying to stop it, but he's working down bottom side. Kuro and Shio and Darwin both have to be careful.
Yeah, I think why we're seeing or maybe lacking some action right now is because both teams are very aware that there is a TF in Summoner's Rift, right? Post level 6, you had to watch your positioning if you're a bot laner, and that's exactly what the side of Kuro and Shiro and Darwin on the Jinx and Karma are doing right now. They're just catching waves. They're not overextending too far, and right now, for the side of OTA, they just haven't quite found themselves a good opportunity to pop that Destiny. But time is a valuable resource, and that teleport is coming up very soon for Wenson on the top Malphite.
Yeah, and it's just a small CS lead for him actually in the top lane. You don't expect it, and he's picked up that Bramble Vest as well, and I really like to pick up Machina Crystal Arrow, though. He's got that Dark Shield. He can walk right through the traps. Dark Binding connecting there. Destiny coming in as well. He just wants to KS it. He gets the first blood. And that is the first kill heading over to OTA.
Yeah, definitely like that pick overall. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow buys enough time for the TF to land there in the bot side. They get one kill off of it. Man advantage is going to mean almost a guaranteed Drake, and they started up without any hesitation. Well played from OTA. But in other news, back to the slapfest that is that top side.
It's just a slap fest. That's all it is.
Right.
Zoe may be trying to contest this. She knows she just can't do anything. She get locked up. She goes in.
Oh.
Oh, the Rocket trying to do something. Almost had it. There's actually no smite available for Barkini there, so it was possible.
It was possible. The potential was there, but then again, potential is always there. And for the side of Dawn Premier, maybe they don't always live up to it. We'll have to see as the game progresses. Sorry, not trying to fire too many shots at them. They're hanging in here. It's been definitely not a fire that was last game's early game. Parakini getting caught out. There's Dweb.
Might be in trouble. The smite's there. The slow's there. He's able to find a counter slow. But the damage, the auto attack, and Jeb finds that kill. Solo, rather, in the jungle. And we're back topside.
Yeah, we are back to the slaps.
Back to the slaps. It doesn't even matter if these ultimates are getting blown. The kill pressure is so low out of these two.
Yeah.
It's like it's just painful to watch. Just let us watch bottom lane, please, directed camera. But
Here's
there's
the thing.
counter ultimate.
Even if there is a kill. Here's the thing. Even if there is a kill, it's gonna be 15 seconds from now, I think.
Hold up.
Oh,
hold up.
maybe not.
The damage. He just flash.
The flash.
The counter flash. The kite away. He misses the Q. No. Life Orb slow row. Mid lane. Look at the damage. We got fighting everywhere.
All right, which one do you prefer, the mid lane trade or the top lane trade?
I don't know, honestly.
I think I prefer the top lane just because I hate Zoe as a champion. Like,
you have a
that there was no interaction there for the Zoe. At least with the top laners, you know, you're backhand slapping each other. There's a bit of interaction there, but speaking of interaction, Jweb here on the bot side getting snared.
Finding connects. He's got the Shankar Snare. He locks him up. Can't even lose that Chrono Break. Darwin should be the next to fall, and TD able to double kill. Jibba looking for the triple, and he's able to find it. The 2v3, but now you got Gentry coming in. Able to go golden. Beautiful dark binding. He's going to be able to find that sleep. The damage getting traded back. It's the heal. It's
shield.
4 kills back to back to back for Jibba, and he is now 4-0. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Jibba, hashtag blessed on this one. Just giving all the okay, well, just goes to serve. I mean, just goes to show. Caster Curse, yeah, it always does affect when you least expect it, but that's honestly not the biggest worry right now. Still lovely amount of gold onto Jibba. On the Ashe, once again, we saw a beautiful performance out of him game 1. Here in game 2, I think have yourself the game of the week, probably. I think he's got all the resources he needs to thrive. It's really just a matter of what else his team is going to make happen. And in the top side, bit of a trade.
We're back top lane.
Yeah, gotta be a 2v2
this time around. Barkini is there. The unstoppable force not available just yet.
Okay,
trying to push and win. Doesn't find anything. Barkini still on the run. The slow on the jab. He's able to find the damage. Barkini gets shut down. And that's a 2-1 Echo now. And that's not very good. He's actually going AP, trying to pick up, of course, that AP jungle item. But it's not helping him out just yet.
Yeah, I don't know if really the AP will come back to bite him. I think right now he's not off to the greatest of starts, falling behind in both CS and kills in terms of his enemy jungler. But maybe you could argue like, hey, just go tank, just be that utility for your Ashe, buy as much time as possible. But hindsight's 2020, could have already committed to it before we even talked about it. So at the end of the day, we'll have to see what he can make happen. I think really though, you do have to give compliments to Jweb on the Echo. He's had himself a much better standout performance this time on the Echo, and we talked about the Echo as a champion, but just to go a bit deeper, he is so slippery once you get to those mid-game team fights, and he is going to be a threat that Jibba is going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, most definitely. 2-1, got those Sorcerer's Shoes, has that AP item as well, so he is starting to get strong. And you could already see some of the damage that was put down in that last skirmish. Just chunks out Barkini nice and easy. I do want to see Barkini, though, go for some more tank items. Now he's finished up that AP item. He's got the AP he needs, and he can just go a bit tankier and help to support his Ashe and the rest of his team in that jungle spot.
I've got to think about setting your team up for success, and right now both the bot and the mid lane off to decent starts. Well, I say decent, but Jibba is 4-1, so use context with your discretion. But either way, I think really it's now all up to blowing open this bot lane for the side of OTA as a whole. They have got to get the Ashe out of bot lane and move her over to maybe the mid or the top. That is, of course, after this dragon, and hopefully after they take the bot lane tower. But right now, control seems to be a priority here for the side of Dawn Premier. They showed up to the party, but there's no party. They were actually just really early, and nothing's quite happening yet. No one even brought out the chip and dip. But here it is.
Rosebud might be in trouble. The arrow connects. A little bit of damage, but it's not enough. That's going to be no support for this upcoming skirmish. If they want to take it, gold card connects. They're going to be careful. That unstoppable force pushes back only once, and he finds a double knockup. But Life Orb, Slowbro, and the rest of OTA there. They should be able to clean up this Malphite. Indeed, he does. Darwin comes on in and finishes off Barkini. That's the karma damage I was talking about. But Life Orb, Slowbro
Still needs to be careful. Redemption there for a little bit more healing. You've got to be careful. Ash and Jinx are down alone in the bottom lane, still fighting over this Mountain Drake.
Yeah, watch the positioning of Jibba. He's right now isolated and alone, but the bigger priority right now for the side of Don Premier is going to be this dragon. Destiny popped right off the shield.
The arrow, the damage is there. He's able to finish him off, and now you've got Jibba trying to kite away, but he is drowsy, and he is dead. Nowhere to go for this Ash, and Darwin secures that kill for himself. Now 5-2, he's able to trade 1-for-1. This dragon is still on the table, and you've got to be careful if you're OTA. You can't start this up. Both top laners still down bottom side. You can see Malphite. Winston just died, but he's coming right back bottom side. Oh, okay, looks like he's actually going to be pathing top now, that teleport. Oh, there should be about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
It's still battling over this mountain.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you delay the dragon for the side of Dawn Premier, you can send your Malphite to top lane, but still no top laner ready to commit to it right yet, and it's because of the Rift Herald getting some value here in this mid side. This is post 14 minutes, but hang on, Life Orb. You gotta chill out.
Oh my goodness, he survives with less than 10 HP there.
Overambitious is a word that I would use. I'm not sure if it quite fits the big play coming out from Gnar, but either way, the reverse push is finally coming through now as control in the hands of Dawn Premier. They chunked out the Gnar. Teleport still not available, so maybe that just chalks up to, hey, mana advantage. Let's just force this dragon.
Yep, they're going to be starting up this Drake. No teleport available for Slowbro. Ash is there. She's able to chunk him out a bit. The Unstoppable Force available, and she's going to eat that. Dark Binding was not in time, but he's able to flash away, stay alive for a little bit longer. The arrow is used, going to find that knockup, drag him down to about 1,800 health. This should be pretty easily secured. Indeed, it is. It's going to be one mountain apiece now.
Yeah, Cats, that's a perfectly fine play, because although you don't get a kill onto anyone on the side of OTA, the thing is, though, you just chunked Jibba out, who's holding most of the gold. You got tons of value out of that Unstoppable Force. You blew the flash as well out of Jibba. I think things are looking perfectly fine here for the side of Dawn Premier, and they secure themselves a Drake off of the back of that one, evening up the mountains 1-1.
Yeah, evening up those mountains, and though it will be first brick there in the mid lane for, excuse me, for OTA, so you will be able to pick that up. CS lead across the map so far. Ash with 150 to 117, but in the mid lane you have 143 to 129 in favor of Gentry. Pretty even across the rest of the map. Jungle with a bit of an advantage, as well as the Spectre's Cal gets picked up there for Dreb. And oh, we're back to top lane fighting.
We're back to it, yeah. As if you didn't have enough, we're just going to be watching the backhands go once again. And Wenson catching the majority of those hands.
He's catching those hands, indeed. He actually ends up queuing a minion there. So doesn't find the slow. Doesn't get the attack speed slow.
He wanted the speed, Cats. Come
on, you're right.
Brother.
You're right. My bad.
I personally, Cats, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Jibba. Not just Jibba as a person, but also the items that he's building. I think there is a universe where you get blown up every single team fight. I mean, there's a Malphite, an Echo, and a Zoe on the enemy team. The cherry on top really is the super mega death rocket that could come back to bite you at the end of a team fight, right? It's a lot of things being thrown the Ash's way, possibly, and you've got to watch out, watch what you build, but watch the top side.
Orb Slowbro has flash, but I don't think there's a point in using it. He gets flashed on, he goes down, and he loses his flash for it. Flash for flash. Loses his life there as well, but there should be pressure allotted in the bot side for OTA. They're going to be looking to take this tower. It's so low. Jibba doesn't care. They'll finish it up. The Chain and Crystal are not available, so he's not going to be able to look for it, but they'll trade a tower on both top and bottom side.
Yeah, nice pick overall, but pretty much even in terms of the tempo. That's a beautiful sweep right into the Mega Death Rocket. The speed coming through for the Jinx as well. But not another pick to be had. Still beautiful alley-oop coming out from Gentry.
Yeah, I didn't even see that bubble coming in, and I'm assuming
that's the
Rosebud
frustration,
didn't
dude. Yeah, that's the whole frustration of Zoe, isn't it? It's like, where did that bubble come from? Guess I'm dead. Haha, fun game.
Haha, I had so much fun.
Yeah,
I got outplayed.
Love getting interacted all over. It's not gonna get any better though for Jibba, to be honest. He needs to get at least a QSS. That's the bare minimum, but you would love to see perhaps a Hex Drinker or Mob Malmortis on the side of that because of all the upfront AP that's going to be thrown your way. Wenson, Jweb, and Gentry all going to be trying to burst down the Ashe, who, quite frankly, right now is the only carry to be had right now for the side of OTA. I think the TF right now is much more utility, especially because of the fact that he went for that AP build. He's not really going to be having a huge amount of DPS as he free hits through a fight. It's all cooldown based. So it's all based off of team play and how they're weaving in and out. Maybe if they can catch a pick before a team fight actually starts. Really, when we're talking about consistent damage output, it's all about Jibba, right? Everything else is set up.
And it's actually incredibly important to look at Jibba's build. He's opting for that Essence Reaver and Trinity Force. That's a lot more of a poke heavy kind of, we're using this arrow on cooldown type of build. So he's not going to have as much consistent damage as he had in the previous game with that Blade of the Rune King, Brune's Hurricane, i.e. Maybe once he does scale a little bit more, opts for a little bit more attack speed, something along those lines, he'll have it, but not at the moment. Ocean Dragon, though, spawning in the next 40 seconds. Baron Nashor, of course, on the table. We aren't seeing too many moves towards it too early in the game for a lot of these players. They don't want to take it just yet. Well, hey, top lane.
That's a thing. Yeah.
They're fighting it. Right now, actually, Wenson is winning that trade so hard. He just wins it. He's got the Bramble Vest, the Sunfire. He just finds himself some AoE damage. Doesn't matter that Life Orb Slip, bro. Blew practically everything on him, but oh my goodness, Parkini. Oh, he was DC'd and gets shut down, gets taken out of the game for it, and that is actually probably Ocean Drake there as well.
Someone Photoshop in the "Be Right Back"
or
"To Be Continued." Either one.
We'll be right back.
Throw the JoJo music in there too. This is not a good look for Parakini. Let's just put it that way, cats. He's dead to rights, and the thing is, this happened before the pause. It's not like you can undo it. It's not like, oh, oops, my bad. Let me just not chunk you for almost all of your HP. Like, he's dead because of the ignite, and you can't take it back. So I'm pretty sure this is just Dragon in the hands of Dawn here.
Yep, he's gonna reconnect, but even if
not from Summoner's Rift, he's still gonna be disconnected for another 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, but he is coming back. I mean, even if Gentry didn't attack him again, he's got the ignite on him. Yeah. There's nowhere
stopwatch.
Parkini goes, no stopwatch, none of that sorts.
Black Shield doesn't save you. There's just no way.
That's true damage. There's no way that man lives.
His fate is sealed.
Yeah, unfortunate, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. The cookie crumbles. Talking sometimes is incredibly hard.
It's tough especially when sponsors come into the equation. It's not a good time, cats. But
it isn't.
It's okay. You're suffering together with Parakini. He's still perpetually, or right now he's in like purgatory. He's just feeling the wrath of 1,000 suns until we get out of this pause.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, let's talk about what this means, right? I think we can just write off this dragon and say Ocean into the hand, and he's dead. Ocean into the hands of the side of Dawn Premier, and I think this really amplifies their mid game as they're coming into it, right? They're even on mountains, but this Ocean Drake is going to make it much easier to weave in and out, look for picks, and hopefully catch the side of OTA off guard. But look at the side of OTA now. They're committing a lot to the top side, leaving their mid exposed. This is almost guaranteed a mid tower here for the side of Dawn Premier if they pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't think there's much that OTA can really do right now to hold onto it, and that's exactly what happens. Gets down, and now Baron Nashor, of course, on the table. Jibba needs to be careful. You've got Gentry coming on the backside, just threatening him.
Oh, quite a menacing glare he was giving him right there, but the flank might be coming through here from Jweb on the Echo. We'll have to see he's postured, but there is the majority of OTA back into the fray. They're going to be zoning out Dawn Premier. Perhaps no fancy plays this time around, but as a whole, you're still controlling a lot of this game right now. That's the flash actually forced out from Gentry. Nice Destiny popped.
Yeah, and nobody really was around Gentry right there. And TF just pops up that ulti, pulls up on him, and says, all right, you're blowing your flash or you're dying. And, well, I guess the flash was used.
I'll take the flash, yes.
I'll take the flash. That's fine by me.
Yeah, I'll have what he's having. But, hey, live to flash another day is both his and Double Lift's motto. So we'll have to see how the game progresses from here on out. You would give a slight advantage over to the side of Dawn Premier. But then again, I just looked at the gold chart, and breaking news, it's actually 1,000 gold in the hands of OTA right now.
Yeah, the 1,000 gold lead is kind of unexpected, and a lot of it is coming out of the CS lead. We're seeing in that bottom lane, 221 to 163, plus 5 kills in Jibba's back pocket. That is nuts. And the gold difference between the 280 carries is actually just about 1,500. I mean, you can even see the items, the Trinity Force, the Essence Reaver, the Zeal, to only an Infinity Edge and a Zeal. So it's really massive right now. And it's going to, these team fights are going to be about what Jibba can do.
To further your point as well, the Triforce does give you a good amount of HP, which I think you are appreciating as the Ashe. Remember, this is the main carry of the team right now. The Ashe is going to be putting consistent DPS. So if you lose that early in a team fight, you are just losing out on so much damage, especially as a team fight extends. So you want to keep that Ashe alive as long as possible. The HP is going to help that. I bet a QSS would also help as well. So fingers crossed that's coming through eventually. That or a Hex Drinker at the very least. I'm begging you, brother. Jibba, just get one of the two, and you are going to be doing your team some favor. We'll have to see if that comes through. But either way, we're back to the neutral game where both teams are going to be fighting around what is now a very potent Baron offer, I would say. Both teams have one mountain in their back pockets, so Baron isn't as tanky as you think, even though it is only 25.5 minutes in.
Yeah, definitely. And right now you have 29 Rosebud kind of just, oh my god, the fancy feet, everything. Destiny is there. He's rooted, but the unstoppable force is there. Look at how much damage. Jibba has to flash away to keep himself alive just a bit longer, but the teleport is coming in. Dark Binding doesn't connect, but the slow is there. You got to be careful. That's a tower going down bot side, but Wenson is in trouble. He's just barely able to survive. Jeb is in so deep. He has to flash away to keep himself alive a little bit longer, but Gnar is about to go mega. He can walk right through those traps.
How do you do
so
that?
close, and the trap is not going to be enough to stop him.
Okay, it's the Black Shield. Thank you.
Yeah, it was
so
the Black
much.
Shield. It was the Black
All right. I was like, huh? Would he just jump over that? Wasn't that a
Nobody
thing?
dies there.
Yeah, nobody dies there. I will say, though, that is a lot of flashes blown away from the side of Dawn Premier, but a TP advantage here for the side of Dawn Premier, actually, as once again, we're back to the poking. Super Mega Death Rocket does not connect with anyone, and the slows coming through. Nice snare.
Jibba doesn't want it. Playing it safe. He is going to get slept, though. He's got to be careful. His Unstoppable Force not available.
Here they come.
Sleep for so long, and Jibba can't do anything. 29 Rosebud, the next target, flashing away. He goes golden to keep himself alive a little bit longer, but Gentry finally finds that kill, and now this should be Baron Nashor. Perakini does have that smite, so you still have to be careful, but he is one squishy Gragas, and there's not too much else you can do. Another bubble going to connect. That's a dead Gnar, and Gentry's able to finish him off. This Baron down to 7k, and this should be secured for Dawn, and indeed it will. Nobody else around. Pings away from ability power to go pick up the dragon for their losses, but man, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're guaranteed the dragon off of this one, Cats. Maybe just looking for a pick, if anything, but the rest of the cavalry is coming very soon. That actually landed. Big damage, and Kesley did not tank it.
Kesley doesn't take it, and now he'll be the next to fall over the wall. It doesn't matter. He's on the run. There's a tower there, the cleanse. He's got an extra snipe with the snap with the Lich Bane and the Infernal Dragon into the back pocket of Dawn.
Yeah, the entirety of OTA just vaporized off of the map one by one. It was a beautiful pick coming out from the side of Dawn Premier that secures them the Baron. the Infernal as well to top it all off. And it's just good stuff coming through as a whole for the side of Dawn Premier. Very different from that game 1. And now the push is coming through.
Yep, and this is the point where, this Jinx is also scaling into the game. She's got the Infinity Edge, and she's got that Rune's Hurricane. She's becoming relevant. She does damage now, and, well, that's all you can really ask for your AD carry. Well, I guess you can ask them to stay alive, too. That's pretty nice.
You could also ask them to build a QSS, but not this time around.
Or Hex Drinker.
Or Hex Drinker. I would have loved that QSS when Jibba
got slept.
On the Ashe got slept. Yeah, but you know what? We can't always have nice things in life, cats. I've just learned to expect that. No, I really don't want to harp too much. I don't want to sound like a broken record. But hey, could be helpful. It's just gonna end with that one.
It could be.
I ain't asking for much here, cats.
You're really not. I mean, even then, this game looks pretty heavily in favor of Dawn at the moment, but the gold lead is only 3,000. But there he has force. He's not even using the golden. He goes golden, but there's no way. Wait, he survives?
Okay. But I was told that there was no way.
You know what?
What the heck's going on here, cats? Well, the push still coming through.
Still going in. Look at the damage, though. But Jeb's taking a bit of damage from Jibba on the backside. Have to be careful. No unstoppable ultimate available for Wenson. Does go slept there, and that might be a dead Gnar. In trouble. He gets pushed away. He gets stunned midair. But with nowhere else to go, Jeb finishes him off.
Oh, Jibba.
For the backline. Jibba is starting to go huge, but he's taking a lot of damage. That's a crit to the backside.
Oh,
the flash forward.
Splash.
The damage. The splash. Kuro and Shiro pops off. He gets the double kill and should be able to pick up that middle inhibitor for his team.
I'm sure Jibba was feeling that one, but not quite with the stats. The gold too far behind for the side of OTA. They lose their inhibitor. Might just lose the game off of this one. Kuro and Shiro is having quite a picnic here.
Yeah, a picnic indeed. They sat down, they had a good time.
Yeah.
Top lane, pretty relaxing either way, but just like that, Dawn Premier, Kisley on the run. He goes golden to keep himself alive. But they are going to send us to a game number 3 here in week number 2.
That's right, and perhaps Christmas came early. I got what I wanted out of the side of Dawn Premier. Sure, they didn't have an explosive early game, but at the same time, they came with big changes, lots more activity out of Dweb on the Echo. You had Gentry with a standout performance. Bubble after bubble was a man advantage for the side of Dawn Premier, and they propelled themselves over to this deciding Game 3, cats.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what Game 3 has in store for us, as that was a slugfest, really, either way. It could have definitely gone either way up until kind of that Baron fight. You got Zoe able to really come online and get a lot of picks, and the Ashe just wasn't able to do as much in previous games, opting for that different build, not as high damage. And you can kind of see that in the graphs here. Zoe, 20,000 damage, putting the team on her back that game. And even then, you have this Malphite, 13,000. It's actually 300 more than Jinx. Really not able to get online and do a decent amount of damage until later in that game.
I completely agree with you. And looking into Game 3 now, I think my feelings are, even though Jibba was once again put on the Ashe, it was sort of the same story where he was one of the main carries for his team. Now, this time it didn't work around. But at the same time, though, I don't know if you really want to give the Ashe over to OTA for a third game in the row. My feelings are really just take it off the table, because you could see with the Jinx Karma lane, it really didn't work out for them. And to have an Ashe going into Game 3 really limits what you can pick in the AD carry pool for the side of Dawn Premier. So I think they just take it off the table, or I would like to see them take it off the table. But once again, max damage for the side of the mid laner of Dawn Premier. Gentry, fantastic performance. You had Wenson as well. Listen, it was a slap fest in the top side, so I'm not surprised by the damage by any means. But once again, the entirety of the top side of Dawn Premier looked really on point. I loved the aggressive play, especially out of Dweb on the Echo, even though Kuro and Shiro and Darwin in the bot side did fall a bit behind. Didn't really matter, because at the end of the day, the team carried them through it and they got over to the win.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, don't go anywhere. We will be right back with game number 3 here shortly between Dawn Premier and OTA Ability Power. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is game number 3 here between Dawn Premier and OTA Ability Power. Once again, I'm your play-by-play, Justin Katz Fairchild, and I'm here with Switch. How you feeling about this game 3?
Yeah, I tell you, it's all on the line here, Cats, for both of these teams. Both OTA and Dawn did put up great performances when they won, but it really is all about who gets the last laugh here in this third game, isn't it? And I would love to see Dawn once again play in a similar vein to their game 2. They won it through just beautiful play with their mid jungle duo, especially. I thought the Zoe Echo was such a fearsome duo that kept preying on a really strong jungler that was Parkini in game 1, but not necessarily game 2, right? On the Gragas, didn't quite look like his old Vi self this time around had one too many drinks and ended up being Gragas. So it's quite unfortunate. But this time around, I would love to see, at the very least, the Ash taken away from the side of OTA. I think they've proven 2 games in a row that it is still a pick to be feared, and it's harder than you think to get ahead of in the laning phase.
Hmm. Definitely. And, we saw similar, the pick ban last game. You had champions like that Rise getting taken away. That was so good. And also the Shen, excuse me, from OTA that were just incredibly good for them. And you saw them lack a little bit in the mid lane. TF really wasn't
Right.
able to do too much. He got 1 or 2 ganks down bottom side. What do you think OTA needs to do to try and bounce back from this?
Yeah, it's definitely a good question. I think if OTA does get an Ashe, you need a secondary carry. You cannot play utility top and mid because once again, the side of Dawn Premier are just gonna draft heavy dive. They're gonna blow up the Ashe every single team fight, and you're not gonna get anywhere near enough damage to win a team fight for the side of OTA. Excuse me. So if they get their Ashe, they need a secondary carry. If not, it really does leave a bigger playing pool to go around. You got a lot more versatility. I think the statement still stands. Jiba is a great AD carry when he's given the right tools and the right situation to carry, right? You can't put him on lack of mobility and expect him to hard carry a game, right? He needs more than that to survive. And also for the side of OTA, they need to focus more on maybe keeping down the mid and the top lane for the side of Dawn Premier. I think especially the mid side, Gentry, 2 games in a row, has shown that he is a good player, and especially on the Zoe, he can be a remarkable force.
Yeah, and Jibba does play other AD carries as well. After a quick peek at his OP.GG, he does have things like Jinx and Zaya under picked up. He can play them. So I'd really like to see a champion like that. Zaya is so incredibly strong. We see
Yep.
her so often right now. She has been practically untouched in these pick bans. Not banned, not picked, and that very much surprises me.
Yeah, quite bizarre too, because it's a champion very similar to Ashe, in my opinion. It brings a good mix of both utility in terms of the snare or the enchanted crystal arrow, if we're talking about Ashe, and damage, right? Sure, you're not zipping all over the map like maybe a Kaisa or a Lucian would, but at the same time, you are that backline threat that cannot be ignored. The only difference is Zaya has that Featherstorm, which is sort of a get out jail free card that could definitely be appreciated for the side of Jibba. We'll have to see what the adaptations are. I think the final thing is really to point a light towards the junglers, where once again we saw Dweb on the Echo. Sure, he wasn't, invading like level 3 and solo killing the enemy jungler, but he did pack a fair amount of aggression. I think Parakini is going to have to think really hard about what champion he decides to secure for himself here coming into game 3.
Yeah, most definitely. And that Featherstorm, of course, is so big, and it would have helped him out so much last game. He's up versus this, who's you just don't want to get hit by that ultimate because it's pretty much signing your death warrant. But not picking it up, and we'll have to see what maybe switching up the pick because the Gnar didn't do too much there either.
Very
He
true.
did go for a few backline flanks, and he just got caught out. He got shut down. And, you had this Echo that actually did a decent amount. I talked about it, and it did a decent amount, not too much. It was more on that back of that Zoe. He was so incredibly strong, able to find so many
Yeah.
picks one after another. But we'll have to see what they opt to do differently in this champion
Yeah.
select.
Yeah, one thing's for certain. I expect to see a Zoe ban, and I expect to see an Ashe ban. Those two are the known quantities that we have figured out throughout the entirety of the series. But speaking of what we figured out throughout the entirety of the series, as we get into the pick and ban, it would seem that the side of OTA do sort of rely on their backline carry in the form of Jibba to really round out these team fights. And on the other hand, for the side of Dawn Premier, they have a fantastic mid laner. They played around it last game and they found success.
Yeah, definitely. We are into this champion select now, and we're seeing some of these bans come through. The Ashe actually is going to get taken away, so Jibba's not going to be able to play that this time around.
Yep.
Rise getting taken away by Dawn as well. And OTA actually opting to take away that Zoe and Thresh, waiting on that last ban though. I really do like taking away this Zoe, something he's comfortable on, and
Yes.
finishing it out with that Mordekaiser we've seen taken away all 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Gentry, game 1 and game 2 are completely different people. Game 2, he was just the star of the side of Dawn Premier. Not going to see the Zoe this time around, though. But the Xayah, like you mentioned, Cats, it's coming out here strong. First pick here for the side of Dawn Premier. And this really does bring the question to the table. Hey, what about Rakan? He exists.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something you've got to think about. If your support plays it, you 100% take it. Because the Xayah Rakan lane is just so incredibly strong.
Yes.
There's actually pretty much not any traditional bot lane that beats it. This is going to be the Kai'Sa hover and Kai'Sa pick, though, there for OTA. So we're seeing 2 completely different AD carries we haven't seen in the previous games. We'll have to see if this Rakan is going to be picked up.
Yeah, you could have actually gone for the Caitlyn Morgana, which is somewhat of an answer to the Xayah Rakan, just because they're 2 of the strongest bot lanes available on this current meta. But it's looking to be the Kai'Sa, and actually not denying away the Rakan from Dawn Premier, which is so difficult, but at the same time, giving it up feels even worse. And it looks like the side of Dawn Premier hovering over it. Let's talk about the Cho'Gath, though, which is, once again, another beefy top laner, as we know, and we love Cats. You know, we just love seeing those slapfests in the top side. But this Cho'Gath is definitely a known quantity, right? By the mid game, it's going to be that definitive frontliner. And I think you really appreciate that when you look at the AD carry. Kai'Sa is someone who's waiting for the right opportunity to really pop off in a team fight, and I think Cho'Gath gives you the luxury of time because he's so tanky.
Yeah, Cho'Gath is actually a really interesting pick. He has potential to win top lane a lot of the times if played correctly. It is going to be up versus this Shen, though.
I like this matchup, to be honest. I think Cho'Gath can actually make something work in the top lane.
Most definitely, but that actually is one of Rakan's few counter picks in the Leona. You're able to stop a lot of that engage. You're able to get right on top of them. So it'll be interesting to see. And you're able to kind of just counter engage onto the Xayah so she's not able to follow up. So we'll have to see how this matchup goes. I'm really liking all these matchups so far for really both of these teams because they will be pretty action-packed.
Yeah, action-packed is definitely one way to put it, as the Leona is going to be the final pick locked up for the side of OTA. Just when you thought we were going to scale over to a victory for the side of OTA, nope. They decide Leona, the action-packed bot laner, as you might call it, Cats, is here to the party. So Kai'Sa, Leona, it's definitely relying on jungle presence. So I'm waiting to see what OTA's jungler is going to be. There's the vibe taken off the table. Might even see a Gragas ban just because we know that OTA's jungler can play both of those. But we'll have to wait and see. The one thing is, though, level 6 is prime time to gank the bot lane for OTA. So we'll have to wait on that one. Shen, actually, looking back in retrospect, Shen actually does have good trading. So he might not be the pushover that I'm making him out to be versus Cho'Gath. The only problem is a lot of Cho'Gath's damage can go through that auto attack shield coming out from Shen. So he might not get a lot of value out of his abilities. But either way, Shen is going to have some opportunities to use the Stand Unite. It really all depends on how much Cho'Gath is sticking to the Shen, right? Because Cho'Gath has 2 interrupts, the knockup and the silence, to stop any Stand Unites from making a mana advantage.
Definitely. The last few bans, though, here will be that Vi and Zac getting taken away by Dawn and OTA, doing it with Rek'Sai and Jarvan as well. So 4 junglers off the table, nice and quick.
Yeah, and
any other lane at the moment.
Yeah, the elephant in the room is the Echo is still available. We didn't see a bad performance coming out, actually, out of Dweb on the side of Dawn Premier, so he could scoop it up. But there's the Sejuani. Could be sort of a prediction that the Echo is coming up, and so he decides to pick up the Sejuani. Sejuani has a good amount of tankiness, and she can 1v1 with Echo just because she can survive the burst that Echo offers. But the Kayn right now being hovered for the side of Dawn Premier. Let's touch on the Sejuani, actually, because I think it brings that engage that you needed. I think it's really all starting to come together for the composition of OTA. You've got primary engage, secondary engage, and that's exactly what you want when you're playing Cho'Gath, sort of abilities to buy time for you to get into the middle of the fray, for you to get as much value as possible out of this Cho'Gath pick. And you're gonna give opportunities for the Kai'Sa to pop off as well. That killer instinct is perfect when you're trying to play off of those big CCs.
Yeah, definitely. That's just so much engage potential so far for OTA, and they have this incredibly beefy front line this time. And it kind of goes a little bit for both sides. Kayn can go pretty tanky as well. And that final pick is actually going to be the Kayle, so that could be Kayle mid lane up versus that Vladimir. And she's a champion that is going to sit back. She's going to get beat a bit. But after level 11, after she starts to get that second, third item coming along, she is going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely. And scaling available for both sides, I will say. Vladimir is fantastic towards the late game. Shen as well is great. Even Kayn scales quite nice, especially when you hit one of those second forms for Kayn for the side of Dawn Premier. So actually, they're not really worried about running into a late game. But how much can you really beat an infinite HP scaling Cho'Gath and also Kayle, a champion that's designed to murder you once you get past level 16, right? It's really a who's who of who's really the better scaling champions. But I would personally give it to the side of OTA. They have distinct front line, distinct back line, and both perform fantastically towards that late game.
Most definitely, and it'll be really interesting to see how these engages come along for both these sides, because both these teams kind of just want to go in. You have this Leona, you have this Sejuani, and then for Dawn, you have the Rakan, you have the Shen. Vladimir and Kayn are champions that want to dive that back line as well. So the way these team fights unfold is going to be fascinating.
It definitely is, and I think you've got to be creative when it comes to the approaches for the side of Dawn Premier, right? The thing about these big, beefy frontliners for the side of OTA is the fact that they're going to buy so much space once you get to maybe 30 minutes in and you're dancing 5v5, right? They're going to provide so much room that Kai'Sa isn't really going to be in danger. She's going to be able to wait until the perfect engage comes through, killer instinct into the perfect position, and rip apart the side of Dawn Premier, right? It's all about what are the flanks, what are the conditions for the engage for the side of Dawn Premier. They need to break through this big, beefy front line and get towards that nice, gooey backline that is the Kayle and the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, definitely, but you still have that Kayle ultimate, of course, that makes you invincible for a few seconds. And if that's timed correctly, you're going to avoid all of that damage from Vladimir. You're going to avoid all of that damage from Kayn. And that's really what it's going to come down to in these later game team fights. But before that, you have to get through the early game. So let's break down a few of these lanes. Shen versus Cho'Gath. How are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, I've said this before, but I think Cho'Gath's going to get a lot of value out of his abilities because they, go through anything that Shen is trying to negate, right? He's not auto attack based, so I think you do have a bit of a win over on that side. Also, Cho'Gath has great sustain, so I think he's going to be able to out sustain the Shen. That being said, though, it's hard to say Shen got buffed recently, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to fall back because of those reasons, and that's not going to help you, especially when the side of Dawn Premier would be looking to utilize the Stand United, but Cho'Gath has a lot of options to interrupt that.
Yeah, and then of course moving down now into the jungle, you've got Kayn and Sejuani. Kayn, of course, a little bit more of an aggressive jungler. Will do a little bit more damage than Sejuani, but that front line massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Sejuani doesn't even have that bad of an early game, right? Sure, the most recent nerfs were to her Arctic Assault, so maybe she won't have as much mobility as you would like. But at the same time, though, she's not going to be a slouch. She's not going to fall flat on her face in the early game. She's a known quantity that you're going to bring into the mid game for those nice engages. On the other hand, for the Kayn, you want to see some big plays coming out from the side of Dweb on the Kayn, right? We saw the Echo, looked great, looked aggressive. You're thinking same thing for this Kayn pick.
Most definitely. Then Vladimir and Kayle, that's just going to be a matchup of just sitting back and waiting for Kayle to go ahead and scale on up.
You really nailed it. I can't say anything better than that one. And that does leave us with the bot side, as it's going to be the Zyrakan. We always favor that. But the Kai'Sa Leona, like we said, just play safe and just wait for those ganks to come through. I think it will really all work out when you look at all the tools at the disposal for the side of OTA. The Glacial Prison, the Solar Flare, as well as Kai'Sa's Killer Instinct jumping in on the targets.
Most definitely. But with that, let's give a shout out to our last sponsor, Midwest Esports. They've been around for a few years, starting as a small student group out of Wichita State University. Since then, Midwest Esports has grown to be a veteran organizer to tournaments and events throughout the U.S. They host tournaments for games like League of Legends, Rocket League, and as well as Overwatch. For more information, check them out at MidwestEsports.com. But with that, we're going to go to a quick break. When we're back, it's game number 3, of course, between Dawn Premier and OTA Ability Power. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is game number 3 tonight. It's Done Premier once again up versus OTA Ability Power 1-1 match point. And boy, do we have some spicy compositions.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And the name of the game is Scale Cats, isn't it? I mean, the Kale in the mid side. Whoa, where's that music? Dang, that's a jam right there, but not anymore. This one, not so much of a jam. It's like a lullaby, dude. Lullaby, dude.
I go to sleep. I can go to sleep to this. Easy.
Oh, heck yeah, yeah. Back to
There
this.
we go.
Yeah. I don't know about the moves, though.
Questionable. I don't think you're going to see him on the dance floor.
Anyway, I prom. Either way, starts as per usual. Not too much action coming in, and you're going to see the junglers opposite sides this time around. And also, you're seeing the Kane special starting at those Raptors.
Yep. That's really nice for Kane, but hold up. Myself's level 1. That's going to be a stun there. Under a con, you've got to be careful. He's so incredibly strong. He's able to find the knock-up onto Rosebud. But you've got to be careful. The Ignite going down. It's traded back. Jibba has the damage. He's flashing forward. He finds first blood. Kaisa already able to get that kill and up a kill. She's going to be able to shove in this wave, get all that XP. My goodness. And that's not the start you wanted.
Yeah, that is not a good look here coming in for the side of, I believe, Dawn Premier as wowzers. I mean, listen, Zaya Rakan, yeah, it's pretty strong. First of all, that's level 2. Second of all, now when you run melee range into Kaisa Leona, the biggest problem with that was, yeah, sure, Leona brings a bit of upfront damage to the party. Once Kaisa starts building up those stacks, level 1, you're just almost dead to rights. Once she gets to 5 stacks, it's the worst, and it gets worse here.
Already level 2, and there's the knock-up, though. Darwin able to counter it. Yourself alive a little longer, but that's so much damage. The PTA with plus the procs. Yeah. You do have Kane coming in now, though. Don't know if he'll be able to do anything. Getting a bit of damage, but nothing found there.
Yeah, that gank does not stick, which is going to mean still pressure here in the bot side. Whether or not the Kane stays, you still have a big problem here for the side of Dawn Premier, which is first kill of the game, 400 gold over to Jibba, a very good scaling AD carry that wants to hit that Rage Blade power spike as soon as possible. This is going to make it a bit easier to get through those early power chops and into that beautiful itemization that she knows and loves.
Yeah, definitely. I do take a note. And we've just saw top lane. We had a little sneak peek. And well, we're back to look at this wave coming into Shen. And you can already see he's getting bullied out. There's the flash, though. Kane's back bottom lane. Shiba does not have that TP, or excuse me, flash. He's going to go down. That's the Ignite taken down. Rosebud, the next 2. He doesn't get that flash off, and it's a double kill for Dweb.
Feels bad, man. But there you go. Smart play coming out from Dweb. He stuck around that bot side. Didn't make it as obvious of a regank. Actually came in through that cliff around blue buff. So really smart pathing, and overall, he gets the win. 2 for 1. 2 is better than 1, so well played overall coming in from the Kane. And in the top side, we touched on it a bit before, Cats, but man, is that hard knocks life coming in for the Shen. He can't control the wave. He's losing out on trades. It's just a lose-lose.
And the thing that's so nice about Cho'Gath as well is his passive heals him every time he kills him, and he gets extra mana and extra health. And yep, you see right there, plus 29. Beautiful. That adds up so quickly. And you really just don't expect it.
Honestly, so I'm watching games sometimes. Pans away from the top lane, pans back. He's full HP. What the heck happened? Wait, do you go back or something? It's ridiculous sometimes around. You can see already back to a decent amount of mana. Going to be expending it to shove the wave. And you're just going to add insult to injury. The CS deficit is going to be accruing. And you're going to want some jungle intervention if you're the side of Dawn Premier.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you do have Kane down here. It just looks like he might be actually soloing the dragon at the moment. That waiting for it actually to come up.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't up yet. It wasn't 5 minutes yet. But Dweb looking for another gank. He doesn't have the knockup. Darwin might be looking for something. And he is actually able to find the knockup, but there's not enough trade damage right back and forth for Dweb. Zaya stayed back, and she's not able to combo up with the root either. You do have Parkini now on the bottom side of the jungle, maybe looking for a counter gank or trying to work his way over there. I believe he might have been spotted out by a ward, though.
Yeah, if anything, really just rush to 6 must be on the mind for Parakini. He's going to want a Glacial Person if he wants to make a gank stick here in the bot side. And bot side seems to be the name of the game for both teams, right? It looks like for the side of Dawn Premier, they have written off top as a bit of a loss for the most part right now. I think they're more concerned with this early dragon as well as this bot lane that you want to maintain ahead. I think if Xayah Rakan does stay ahead, they really can control the pacing of the game.
Yeah, most definitely, and they're able to shove in right now. They are down a bit in CS, and it is actually important to note as well that Wenson is holding his own in terms of the CS count. He's picked up a Sunfire and a Rejuve beat as well, and he's actually able to get that trade-off. He connects with the taunt. Of course, Shogath will be able to heal up off of that, so doesn't worry too much about it. He knows jungler's nowhere nearby at the moment, but still, it's really nice that Wenson is able to hold his own and still be just about even in gold.
Yeah, true. The CS deficit is not accruing like we thought it would. Whether that's due to Life Orb CSing personally, or whether that's due to Wenson just being a beast farming under towers, it's up to anyone. I really not sure, but either way, I think you got to say, well played coming out from Dawn Premier's top laner for the most part right now, and we're just looking to continue the trades. The backhands coming on out.
Yeah. The trade's
hang on.
Now in the jungle, that's going to be the flash wave from Barkini. Level 6 for Life Orb Slow Bro, as for Wenson. But one gets a little bit of early advantage with that, but the steal is there. Dweb now looking for Barkini on those Krugs. He's got to be careful. That's a 2-0 Kane, 2 long swords, as well as that Hunter's Machete completed.
Yep. Realizes he's in the wrong neighborhood, and he decides to get the heck out of there. But overall, I like the aggressive play of stealing the buff. I think it's super smart when you know Kayle is in the mid lane, and Kayle just gives free pressure over to the enemy team. You can see right here, Kesley not worried about any kill potential coming out of the Kayle. He's, or rather, Gentry on the Vladimir. Not worried about any kill potential coming out from the Kayle. He's just playing as aggressively as possible, shoving in wave after wave, which is a similar story here in the top side.
Yeah, most definitely. And, we talked about Cho'Gath maybe having the advantage, but Wenson's, he's fighting back. He's able to...
Man. I really did not know how good these buffs were, but that good is apparently the answer to that one. Here's Parakini, though, right on time.
Oh, he's actually able to interrupt away from it. One more auto attack. He's going to be able to find the stun. The knockup is there.
There's the flash.
Barely able to flash out of it. Level 5 for Dweb. He's got to be careful. The ultimate is still available for Low Slow Bro. I don't know what's going on. He's flash forward. He's not able to find the final chomp, though. United. No.
Wait, what?
Just finish him off. What are you doing?
Wait, what?
But Dweb is able to trade back. I don't know what I'm watching. Dweb
What's happening?
Able to finish it off. There's the ultimate, and there's the double kill. I don't know what I just watched. What?
Yeah. I have no idea what the heck just happened, but you know what? Better top jungle wins, and this one turned out to be Wenson and Dweb. Best part about that whole thing, 2 kills right into the pocket of Dweb on that Kane. He's going to get closer and closer to getting into his second form and really changing the context of this game.
And now 4-0 as well. He hasn't backed off just yet. Clearing out the rest of his jungle, getting a bit more gold to finish up that item first. But my goodness, this Kane is getting big and scary, and it is early.
And that's I don't know about you, Cass, but that's kind of a tilter for me. That was some weird stuff happening, and unfortunately, you gotta take the little L here if you're the side of OTA, and hopefully get right back into this game. But let's take a look at the lanes as a whole. You're looking at Sejuani here actually covering, because the bot lane of Dawn Premier was actually forced back here. They're not, or rather, the bot lane of OTA rather was forced back on this one. So all this CS would have gone to Sejuani, but Jibba finally arrives. But it's still not the best of situations. CS relatively even right now, but as the game progresses, I think we're going to start hitting a mid-game power spike for the side of Dawn Premier as a whole. They are in the right spot to take over this game. And that top lane, man, oh man, is that looking real ugly real fast.
Yeah, and it was such an advantage for Life Orb Slowbro. And he ends up backing, he's still just about even in CS. The Tiamat now complete, the Sunfire Cape there as well.
Yeah.
And it's just consistent shoving out of Wentz. Life Orb Slowbro doing whatever he can, but it's not enough.
Man, that feel when you're doing whatever you can, but
Yeah, but it's just
not
not enough.
Damn, that's deep, cats. Well, either way, hopefully Life Orb gets back into good favor with this top lane. That's all I can really say. The Sunfire, or rather, what is this called? Bami Cinder, rather.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great pickup for Wenson. He's going to be able to control the lane much better than he could before. Bit of a fight brewing out down here.
Ultimate does connect. It's
Look at that combo.
She was able to get the Feather Storm off. Huge root, but it's knocking him out of 29 Rosebud to finish him off, and that's going to be the kill on Isaiah.
Right.
That's a beautiful play. But you have to be careful. Kane is coming around if our camera would take us down there one day.
Yep.
Yeah,
you know
there he is.
You know what, Spectre, you're the boss, and if you don't want to go down there, we don't have to go down there. I mean, they know what's best at the end of the day, and nothing actually happens in response from that bot side. Well played from the side of Don Premier. Parakini gonna have to be watching his step, as once again, the Vladimir you expect to be much more active here here in this mid lane, but we'll have to wait and see. Actually, my bad. OTA had a beautiful play on that bot side. I'm not sure why I said Don Premier. And they're going to be capitalizing on it as well. There's one plate taken down. Nice knock up from Darwin. And show's over, boys.
Show's over. They're going to back and try and get some more items, but Dweb is here once again. The knockup. Going to be able to find the stun, but Darwin blows out that ignite. Double knockup actually comes in as well, but he's just actually barely able to survive. I can't believe it, he finished. And Jiba actually trades a kill back onto Darwin. My goodness, that's ridiculous.
I have no idea why Darwin went back forward, but that's what you get for walking up when you shouldn't have walked up. Just death over to the Kaisa, and that's a death that was not needed. But either way, onto the rest of this map, as the gold seems to be striking just about even. Dragon has still not been targeted yet. Let's take a look at the plating. It looks like right now slightly in favor for the side of Dawn Premier, just because they've had this Zyricon battering down on this bot lane tower. And there is the fourth one right into the pocket of the Zaya. Going to be appreciating that one very much, especially because she's going to get that critical strike, going to get that damage a bit earlier than that Rage Blade timing for Jiba.
Yeah, definitely. Though, taking a quick peek at mid, both these champions are sitting back and they're trying to scale. You have Kisley at that Nashor's Tooth, Vamp Scepter as well, and slowly working towards those items. Gentry as well with the Kindle Gem and Fiendish Codex. Plating falling soon, and Herald's still on the map, so it's not going to be the most used out of Herald you get.
Very true. Not as much value as you could have, but hey, you'll take what you can get for either of these teams right now. They're just trying to break open the game, and it is still on the verge of breaking open right now. But once again, tons of attention here in this bot side. That seems to be the name of the game. It makes sense for OTA because they've got a Leona, they've got a Sejuani jungle. It's a beautiful combo that we've seen executed well. I'm just really wondering why we're seeing Dweb time and time again go into the bot lane. It could be just strictly for the counter gank, strictly because perhaps the dragon is still available. And speaking of dragon, it's going to be a smite fight.
It's a smite fight, and blue team comes out the other side of that. The knockups flashed away from Barkini. Gotta be careful. He slows the Cataclysm
There's
back.
the damage.
Stun. Kaisa is locked up, but there's the ultimate coming through. He's not
killing.
Actually, Shen's not going to be arriving to the fight, but Rosebud gets
that ultimate.
Being able to arrive, he sent him invincible for the time being, but Vladimir's still running away. He gets stunned up. Rosebud just give him a slap. Will he go down is the question. No, just barely survives as the double kill comes out for Kisley. And, ooh, that is such a great fight for OTA.
Yeah, big cleanups coming out from OTA. They had a beautiful re-engage with the solar flare. Hang on a second, as Dweb wants to get a little back in return.
More fighting here. Dweb is on the run, able to find that escape over the wall.
There you go. Decide he wanted to go in on Sejuani, then decide he did not want to go in on Sejuani. So you hate to see it happen, but at the end of the day, the bottom line still stands. Good play from OTA. That being said, they lost the Cloud Drake, actually.
Yeah, they do pick up that Cloud, of course. Underrated dragon, as some would think, and they'll be able to put that in their back pocket. A little bit extra speed, and of course that second one is so incredibly strong, and Bulls will be working towards that. It will be a mountain up next, but we still get another 4 minutes before that comes on the map.
Yeah, during that time, we still have lanes as is, and they seem to be favoring, in my opinion, the side of Dawn Premier, right? They're winning out on the bot side due to tower plating gold, winning out on the top side now because Wenson is just a Chad on the Shen and the top side, so no problems there. And even Riftail being started for the side of both Jweb and Jensen, trying to get something good into the hands of Dawn Premier, and they are successful in that regard.
Yeah. Now looking topside, but nothing to be found there, as that Cho'Gath is getting awfully big. He's got a few stacks for himself.
Yeah, jungler spotted out top for the side of Dawn Premier, so this is going to force Parakini's hand to try and get something in the bot side, but there's the Rift Herald dropped. It's gonna collide onto this top tower, and it's up to Life Orb to stop this push from being successful. There's the Eye being triggered away, but in the bot side.
In the bot side, Kiranshio gets stunned up. That's a perma stun. Nothing that Zaya can do. She flashes away. And Killer Instinct on in. Finds that kill. Darwin's the next target. One more auto attack to finish him off. Gonna hands it over to Kai'Sa. Death sentence. Hands it away as Kelsey comes over the wall as well, denying any escape. And that'll be tower in the bottom side. Cho'Gath was actually able to hold off that push top as well.
Actually, beautiful play when we look back and see the advantages that should have been in favor for the side of Dawn Premier. They had Rift Herald in the top side, could not quite get the first brick goal. That one actually going over the side of OTA because they pull off a beautiful bot lane gank. It works wonders. They get to dive under because of the Killer Instinct, get the kills over to the Kai'Sa. And this might just be a consolation prize, but teleport coming in.
But the teleport is there. That's going to be Kelsey coming in the backside. It's a lot of damage, but you got to be careful. He goes invulnerable, but it's not going to be for long enough. Life Slow Orb is now the next target. The taunt, the knock up, and that is the kill. A double kill there for the side of Dawn Premier.
Yeah, super awkward teleport. It was almost okay until you realize he's under tower. He also grabbed tower aggro because he was, attacking an enemy champion. And at the end of the day, once again, another set of 2 kills into the pocket of Jweb. He is 6-0 on this Kayn. If there were ever a time to be scared for your life, I think it would be now for the side of Jibba. He's once again going to have a tough time surviving all of this burst that might come in the first couple of seconds of a team fight.
Yeah, and it's going to be so important to look for these Kayle ultimates if she's able to position them correctly and time them correctly. One to Jibba and keep them alive. The Killer Instinct there, of course, to give them a little bit of a shield, but it's not really going to be enough versus the 6-0 Kayn. He's got 6 out of the 7 kills. That kill that was just actually picked up by Wenson was the only kill on someone else for this side of Dawn.
Yeah, and actually, let's take a look at the gold for a second, because you're looking at plus 1,400 gold for Jibba on the Kai'Sa. That's going to mean closer and closer to the beautiful items that Kai'Sa loves and adores. She's already hitting Breachblade and Manamune, but take a look at the top side. Different story altogether. The top jungle is looking like plus 3,500 gold, which is massive. We are getting a fight breaking out, actually. Nothing landing.
Double stun there. Wenson gets a triple taunt. You gotta be careful. A huge knockup, but he gets shut down. There's nothing they can do. Rosebud's gonna go right back in, but he might be in just a bit too far. Double Root coming in, keeping alive for just a little bit longer. But Parakini, the double knockup. Jeb is huge in this fight, trying to keep him alive, but Rosebud is all alone. Kurunshio finds the shutdown, and Jibba cannot do anything as Jeb is massive. He's looking for more. Might be able to find the knockup. He will with the Sejuani. Gentry now gonna be chasing him. Life Slow Orb and Kill Slay down, finds the slow. Kiranshio trying to chase down, but he turns around, destroys him with that chop. But still a trade for 1-for-1 over there, but overall a fantastic fight for Dawn.
Yeah, 3 for 2 in the hand of Dawn. This is going to be an opening to take this dragon, the second dragon of the game, and the second one up for the side of Dawn Premier. They are finally finding success in these team fights, and would you believe it, It's all due to Dreb. We're 6-0 coming into this team fight, so my expectations were high, and I will say he did quite deliver on that front. Never really looked like he was in trouble. Got beautiful value out of his abilities, as well as Gentry, I will say, on the Vladimir. He's having a much quieter game, but man, is he putting in the work as well.
Yeah, and we'd really need to see an Executioners out of one of these players on OTA.
Yes.
Just the healing is ridiculous from Dreb at the moment. 8-0-2. He's got the Black Flavor. He's got the Warrior Enchantment. And he is practically unstoppable in a 5v5 situation. There's so much protection. There's so much healing that he can find. And then you have Vladimir as well. He will heal so much. He's going to stay alive for so long in your backline, in your front line. And with a fight that looked like it was going to go OTA's way, it was turned around beautifully by Dawn.
Can't agree more with you. It was a lot of engages thrown out from OTA, but nothing quite stuck. The potential, though, is definitely still there. Like we've seen before, OTA, when the tools are in their hands, they know how to work with it. They just could not find success that last team fight. But this game is still very much neck and neck. As you can tell from the gold, only 200 separating both of these teams currently. And it doesn't get much closer than this, to be honest. The only thing that the side of Dawn Premier really have in favor for them are these dragons. The cloud going to help them navigate the map a little bit better. And the mountain, well, that does come into play when objectives are much more important. Not quite yet, though, I will say.
Yeah, now with Baron on the map, a mountain, of course, for the side of Dawn is incredibly important. But you kind of just stalling around this area, waiting for the next fight and playing around that vision around the Nashor area. Dawn with the advantage in the river at the moment. His OTA just hasn't really been able to walk up. Both teleports available for both top laners, so we could see ourselves a full 5-on-5 sometime soon.
Yeah, very true, but it's all whenever the side of OTA feel comfortable. Right now, they're sort of being starved out of vision. You're looking at Rosebud just trying to claw back a bit of vision. And you're seeing a lovely screensaver that is trades in the bot side, but don't worry, this actually doesn't change. The health bars will refill after a while.
Most definitely now. Still maybe looking for a 4-on-4 here. Dweb a little alone, but Parkini does not want to pull the trigger with that ultimate as he is able to survive for so long and not enough people around to burst him that quickly. But you still just have to be careful. These engages are massive for both these teams. You can have the Rakan come over the wall, and Parkini just barely able to dodge away from that knockup.
I mean, let's talk about the direction of the game as a whole, because I think OTA, they're in a fine position right now. We talked about their scaling. Cho'Gath infinitely scales. Kale is just waiting for that level 16 power spike, and as long as nothing breaks out, as long as no Baron gets started for the side of Dawn, I think you're in a perfectly fine state. You're getting gold into the pockets of both the Kai'Sa and the Kale. Well, the spot lane, though.
Oh, Slowbro getting chased down now, but Wenson says, hey, you're chunked out. I'm fine with that. I'm going to go home. And
Yeah,
I guess
still-
Orb Slowbro heads home too. But both of them, of course, with their teleports, stand united available for Wenson as well there.
Yes, you exactly outlined it. The Stand United is going to mean an instant teleport for the side of Wenson, which is much more potent, right? I don't think you ever want to engage, actually, for the side of OTA until another, like, 10 minutes, right? Like, you wouldn't even want to fight here because you're slowly scaling up. I still firmly believe that they have a great late game ahead in themselves. They just need to slow the pacing of the game down. As you can see, they're just moving around as a clump, and together they are much safer. They're just trying to secure whatever vision they can, and as long as they're in the vicinity of Baron, the side of Radiant, or the side of Dawn, rather, don't feel comfortable starting it quite yet.
Yeah, nobody can really start this because the engage potential is still there. You have Parkini, of course, still with that smite. He's 2 levels down, but anything can really happen. You have so much burst damage on both these teams. Jibeth being able to throw a W maybe over that wall, and you help out with the burst. Dragon, though, spawning in another
Yes.
15 seconds, and that is something we might see a fight over.
Yeah, this is definitely a wrench in the plan of OTA. It was all fine and dandy until we start getting into the area of 2 mountains for the hands of
Oh, but here's the engage. Jibba goes invincible for just a little bit longer, but the damage is there. Look at all the come through. Jibba solo, the feather storm there as well. The double knockup. Jibba is solo. He gets taken by Kurochio. Darwin gets shut down, but the Jogath is in just a bit too late. The root is there, and the Zaya
no damage.
is huge, but the damage is in. Slowbro wants it, but the flash away. Zaya stays alive for just a bit longer, but this is a disaster for OTA, and Dawn comes up with an ace.
You know, OTA, the longer they extended that fight, the worse it got for them. They were just left with nothing in their hands because their backliners got melted instantly. Beautiful play from the duo of the series, that is Jweb and Gentry. The mid jungle for Dawn are once again popping off here in this game 3.
Yeah, now they can head over to the Mountain Dragon and pick that one up. And I mean, even then, after all that, the gold lead is still only 300 gold. But
that is 1,000, my good guy. 3,000.
Sorry,
yes.
3,000. That's what I meant. Yeah. Whoops. So 3,000 gold, which still isn't that much in this point in the game. Sure, it's a decent amount, but all of it is on Jweb, who has just been playing fantastic.
Absolutely. Jweb has yet to be shut down. He is having a fantastic game because he was put so ahead of the curve, right? And when you're ahead of the curve as a red Kayn, you just feel unlocked, right? You can go in because you have more HP than people would expect. You have more damage than people would expect. And once he actually secures his, I'm trying to think of the item. It is Death Stance. Once he actually secures the Death Stance, I think he's going to be unmanageable at that point, right? There's just no way that you're going to be able to take him off of your backline. And backline is the name of the game here for the side of OTA, right? We talked about the tanks that are supposed to buy space. The problem is Jweb and Gentry just have ways to get in, but this is another engage popping through.
They're popping in. Darwin's able to find a knockup and charm onto one. He's got to be careful. Gentry with a lot of damage. Kill is incredibly low. Rosebud should go down. He's going to go invincible for just a little bit longer. The triple knockup coming through. He re-engage, but Jib stays alive. You have Jibba still hitting in the back line, but it's not going to matter. It's a double kill there for Wenson. This could be game. This could be the best of 3 series. Heading over to Dawn. They're barreling down mid lane with all the inhibitors, and now should be able to end this. They don't need Baron, Jibba, and Kilsey and Parkini, the last 3 alive, to try and hold on to this game, but they have no ultimates, and it's going to be so hard to hold on. The taunt's there. That should be Kaisa going down. She's kiting away, getting chunked out so incredibly low.
There she goes.
Here to finish her off. Gentry to finish it, and the Nexus wide open. It's going to be finished off, and that's going to be game number 3, heading over to Dawn Premier.
Yeah, and that last team fight really just outlining the entire story of this game 3 here. You got Jweb and Gentry popping off, carrying their team to success. And on the other hand, you've got Jibba and Kesley really not having the impact that we needed them to have once we got here to this mid game, right? We expected the side of Dawn to have a big mid game, but they took the game here at the 28-minute mark. It was beautiful stuff. And they take the mini reverse sweep over the side of OTA.
Yeah, mini reverse sweep, but definitely still a reverse sweep coming down out of that 0-1. And what was a really dominating game out of game 1, they're able to turn around, reset that mental, and be able to take the next 2 games in pretty convincing fashion.
Absolutely. And it's definitely a good sign for your organization if your players are able to bounce back from a game 1 and have such a good game 2 and game 3, right? That's exactly what you want to see. And I think the adaptations that we expected were definitely delivered upon, even in the pick and ban phase. I think it was spot on from the Ashe taken away game 3 to the big departure from early game in game 2. I think it was all par for the course. The side of Dawn did definitely show that they are still a team to be feared here coming into this UML season.
Yeah, and Dawn move on to 2-0. OTA ability power goes to 0-2 after the defeat versus Shurda. But that is a fantastic start of the season for Dawn. And if they're able to keep it up, of course, dreaming for those playoffs and eventually that UML crown.
Yeah. I think you really got to watch out for the duo that is once again Jweb and Gentry. Both game two and game three, they had standout performances. You're thinking back to Zoe from Gentry, and you're thinking to this Kane right here coming out from Jweb. He was at the right place, right time, was the recipient of gold, and he made it happen.
Yeah, most definitely. And overall, I mean, if you were to throw an MVP on this series, who would you give it to?
Ooh, man,
Sorry, that's an intense question.
that's a tough one, brother. I'm gonna have to sleep on that and call you. No, okay. I would just give it to Jweb because I think he was consistent throughout the entire series. Yes, Gentry did basically carry game two on his back, and he was consistent as well. I just really give props over to the jungle. Even this game didn't quite get how he was camping bot, but at the end of the day, it worked out because he was just matching all of those ganks that came through from Parakini. Sure, his bot didn't carry, but I still think that he was a remarkable player. Here in this game three, especially, there was such a disparity with the junglers. So I would give it over to Jweb.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to week number 2 here in the Upsurge Minor League. Once again, I was Justin Katz, Fairchild, and I was here with Jordan Estrada, like a switch. Hope you guys have a lovely evening, and we'll see you next time.